What's up, Grow Fam? It's Wednesday.
Hey,
Once again, it's Wednesday, the middle of the week. We all need that little something to get us through the rest of the week, right? I don't know, but today's Wednesday. It's another Waylon Wednesday on Grow Fam. What's up, Grow Fam? How's it going, everybody? It's Wednesday once again. Switching audio tonight. Yeah, so tonight, okay, we're good to go. Grow Fam Wednesday, Waylon Wednesday. What's up, Grow Fam? Getting that middle of the week going on right now. We're going to have a little sesh. We're going to hang out and have some fun. We're going to give away Grow Fam box tonight. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Waylon Wednesday, powered by Grow Fam. All right, everybody, what's up? Welcome to Wednesday, everybody. Waylon Wednesday on Grow Fam. We are on the Indoor Farmer Rumble channel as well. If you guys are interested in Rumble, ask me about that. But yeah, happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy midweek sesh. It's time to maybe, we'll have some fun and maybe find some information out at the same time. What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday, guys. We Grow Wednesday. It is October 11th, 2023. Let's bring them in. So having trouble connecting to the homestead again. I'm trying to get a hold of someone to help fix that. So I'm trying to slow it down a little bit. You know what I mean? So let's play the ad. Let's play the Your CBD store real quick here, guys, and tag some friends, share it out. I am live on Grow Fam, I believe, yes, in Grow Fam. So if we could get over there, hit those reactions for the Grow Fam, appreciate that. But let's play this ad here while we're hopefully maybe get this fixed in a minute. Thanks, guys. Okay. We are live, guys, on everywhere else, but we're live in Grow Fam on my page, Waylon the Indoor Farmer. We're on Grow Fam Homestead, the YouTube channel. We're on my YouTube channel. We're on Twitch, which is now called X or Twix, whatever you want to call it. And we're also on 2 different locations in Rumble. So if you're over on Rumble, we've got 12 people watching on the Rumble already. Go find the Grow Fam Rumble, hit that follow button, hit that like button. Appreciate it. We're also live on Kick right now. So if you're finding us on Kick, appreciate you guys. Can't see your comments because this is too many screens. But All right, so let's get into it. Wednesday night, guys. Hope everyone's having a good night. It looks like no tags or anything work for anything. Let's see. Maybe I can tag some people. How about that? Hi, Sarah. Hi, Terry. Hello, everybody. What's up, Eric over there? Oh, no, that's Shane over there on the Rumble. Eric in the YouTube side this time. All right. Well, we're gonna wait a few minutes here and see if we can get this going, because we've got a special guest for you tonight, and this is just sad. This is sad. Let's see if I can get some share or some tags going here, guys. Really appreciate you guys helping me with that. Can't seem to get a hold of anyone to fix this. We're probably not going to be on the homestead tonight, unfortunately. But, you know, I do my own thing, so it's not like we can't continue on. We've got some heirloom beans to give away. Oh, I don't need to tag Terry Breiler. He's already here. I'm just tagging random people, guys. Let's get them in here. Let's see. Whoa. What just happened? Here we go. What's sad? Oh, just the StreamYard connection stuff. It's annoying and sad. We got 17 awesome people over on the Rumble, and I'm supposed to be live. Rumble, it takes over like 9 other locations. It's so much better. It's hilarious. Ted, what's up, guys? Here, share it out if you could help us out, help a brother out tonight. What's up, Timothy? What's up, Tommy McKetta? What's up, everybody? Appreciate you coming through. Nora, hello. Yeah, guys, definitely appreciate anyone hitting the like button. And now for some reason my screen's stuck. That's great. There we go. All right, so I do have a special guest coming in a little while. Hopefully we can get things fixed in the meantime. 9 over on the Facebook, 15 on the Rumble. Bean Hunter, thank you. What's this? Got you. We're up. Oh, okay. No, well, we're not. I'm not seeing it. You guys see us live on the homestead? Oh, there it goes. Oh. And there it is. All right. Thank you. Cool. Ash to the rescue, guys. You know we love that homestead because he's got a lot of work built up over there, and it's really helpful to use. So we want to make sure it's in there. Oh, it did not work. Let's see. Can I do this and go live? Now we're live on the homestead. All right, excellent. Now we'll have the floodgates opened up, guys. Hell yeah, excellent. We have our guest back here now, and we'll pull them up in just a minute. Give us a second. I'll get some tunes up here. Maybe in just a moment. All right. Anyway, we're gonna do. I have some cool articles we're gonna read tonight. But actually, have the guest is gonna be quite a bit more information and more fun to talk to. So we might get to that information later on. So some of you may know him. He says he's known around some parts here and there. So we're gonna talk to him here, guys. Tag it out. Let's wait for that homestead to kick in. Says it's on now. Okay. Like literally there should be like suddenly 40 people pop in all out of nowhere. So we'll go ahead and get him up here while we're waiting. All right. Today's guest, guys. Here it is. Justin Duncan, Doc Hollywood. What's up, bro?
What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing tonight?
So you might be able to see comments. I don't know if you have a second device, but it's a little bit annoying to see the comments. But I also do put them up on screen if anybody has any questions. But thanks for coming, bro. I appreciate you stopping through. We always have there's some technical issues, and I think we're getting over that. So we're gonna have some people coming in here real soon. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, let's get this out of here. There we go. Okay, Justin. So, well, or Doc. I mean, what do you like best? Is Doc?
Doc works best, I guess. But if you want to call me Justin, I feel like the biggest thing is with my name Justin is so many people when they try to call me Justin, they call me Jason. And my late brother's name was Jason, so I find myself adjusting with that. So I found that Doc was nice that somebody named me that, because I used to be a caregiver for people, and they were like, "You're nice. My doc, bro. You're the professor."
Awesome. Well, that I can do that. I mean, I picked kind of a longer name when I went with like thinking of names, and so and I threw my own in there. So instead of coming up with a different one, no one told me. It kind of works. It's grown on me over time. But yeah, Doc Holliday, man. That's or Hollywood. I know.
Yeah, Hollywood. It's because I feel like I used to like that movie with like Michael J. Fox. It was like his name was like Doc Hollywood, and it was just a really funny ass movie and shit. Like Woody Harrelson and stuff, like Michael J. Fox. Just that old school like retro of music and stuff, and movies. And I don't know. I saw that, and it was also like Doc Holliday. I love that too. But it was something to where like I feel like I was called Hollywood in college, and then Doc became part of it, and then they're like, "Hey, Doc Hollywood." I'm like, "Oh crap, that's kind of cool."
Yeah, it kind of caught on, and then they're both like separate meanings, but yeah, the combined meaning too. So that's pretty cool.
I appreciate it, man. I feel like if anything, like it's because I don't show my face as much as I used to, that I see that like it's interesting that I see so many people using my face to like I think I've got like 6 to 7 fakes this year.
I saw that. I see that when that pops up, and that is pretty funny. So far, I have not gotten something like that, but I feel like that's when you made it, when someone's trying to take your face.
Well, just wait, because I feel like when it happened to me, like I had like Jonah Tacoma and like Nick Woodward from Dab Stars, and they were like, "Look, man, that's like your serenade and as such. Like when you have people that are using your face to like sell herb and stuff like that, and like obviously it's not me, which really sucks, because I've had people in my past call me and say, "Dude, what the fuck, dude, you screwed me." And I'm like, "Dude, that's not my weed. Like obviously that's not my weed, right?" And they're just like, "But he said it's from you." And I'm going like, "Did you call me?"
Yeah, that's the biggest one. Call. I mean, even that, like on a really grand scale, could be faked, but very like that's like very, very rare now. Like sometimes you'll have someone call you, and it's and then they act like they can't hear you. Like that could just be a recorded video from someone else. And so there's a lot of little secrets in there that people will fall for. And yeah. So yeah.
Well, what it is, man, is it's like this. I actually had this idea once. I was like, like I wasn't really like I used to grow a bunch. I used to do a bunch of stuff behind the scenes and allegedly and all that stuff. And to me, it was like I couldn't really play around with it. So like, there's just a certain kind of stance to where like when you're able to play now, it's able to like, just it's kind of cool to be public. So obviously, like when people steal my face and such like that, like what I did is I started taking pictures with me with really big buds and like me with really large quantities of cannabis. And I was like, I bet you any money, if I do this long enough, somebody's going to just start posting my pictures and pretend to be me. And then years later, it's like, I forgot I did all that shit. And now it's like, I got people using my pictures all the time.
You laughed about it back then and forgot about it. And then here comes to roost. But that's funny, but at the same time, you got to stay on top of it, I'm sure. So
well, that's what I got the verification check for. Like I'm public about like that. I got my blue verification check, because obviously I'm not somebody that should have been able to get my check, but much love that they gave it to me and such. But like, it's like I paid for it. So I paid for it on purpose, because if I have all these fakes running around as me, how am I ever going to be positioned as like trusted by Facebook and Meta and paid and have all these huge, opportunities given to me if they don't trust me, So I had to find a way to do so. And in my opinion, $14 a month, and plus my paid content on Facebook now, I don't even see that money ever come out of my checking account, because I'm making so much through Facebook that
Right.
it just comes out of that.
That makes sense. I mean, in that way, it's not an extra transaction and makes it less visible to you. I'm going to do a little dab here while we're hanging out. If anybody out there wants to join me, we got 45 people hanging out, guys. Here, share it out. Share it out. Definitely have a good night for you planned. I have we got plenty of questions for you, but
Oh,
one of
you're
the
good. I got my pen here. This is some of my sour sprees number one.
nice.
And
Your own home, your own made. Okay, you made it.
Yeah, well, it's only because like obviously I had a friend of mine reach out and like he's like, "Look, man, with your fame and like your face being out there and like your name and stuff, we should like name a strain after you." And I was like, "Well, I can't do that because I've been growing and I feel like all my grow friends, my gromies would probably like roast me solid just because like, hey, like I can obviously do this in my own garden. And I don't have a very big garden. If you've seen on Instagram, I've done like I think 2 to 3 to 4 plants, but it's because I had to relearn how to grow again. Because like I kind of still remember how to grow, but everybody that doesn't know, I got in a car accident and I hit my head really hard. It like I hit off a bumper, like broke my neck in a bunch of places. But I have permanent brain damage in my temporal memory lobe, so I find I lost all of like my everything. I lost who my friends were. I lost who I was. I don't even remember who I used to be. I don't remember how I used to dress. I have pictures that show what I used to dress like, which it's pretty funny. But obviously, it's interesting to relearn how to do something that you already know how to do. So, like my wife says, she's like, if you have a green thumb, you're just you should just be able to play. Like it's nothing that you can explain. It's just that like one day it just clicks. And like obviously, I'm not the best grower. I never will be, but making my own strains, it was kind of cool to where I could actually say, hey, can I grow something in my garden? And then we take your pollen and then we cross that. And we made my first feminine seeds, which was sour spritzer crossed with a buddy of mine's jealousy. And now that jealousy is actually a Riggy skunk, a copycat genetics, and a loudcraft cannabis. And those three guys there alone, like copycat is probably the most like not liked in like the world, but I don't go after like people to like. I go after like weed. I want to smoke funky stuff. I want to grow funky stuff. So to do so, I don't. If I just liked everybody, and do I have to like who that person is behind the scenes? Right. No. I just want to get some good stuff. And obviously, my friend, he's like, we pollinate. So he taught me how to pollinate my first plant, which was cool. Which super awesome to learn. And then now like we're waiting till I'm on day 17 of my current flower, and we're gonna take my current plants and we're gonna pollinate them with this strain called Dingleberries. And Dingleberries is unicorn poop, which is like GMO and sophisticated sister crossed with Tropicana punch. So it'll be like purple punch and Tropicana cookies.
The lineage, man. It's like my dog's AKC registration, like they got to have the lineage, the parents, and everything. Wow, that's crazy.
Let's just say this, bro. Like before any of this, like I wasn't even gonna like go public about all my stuff. But like what it is I wanted to have Sour Sprees as my name. So I went online and figured out how to get on Leafly, and like I have friends that've been growing for like 20 years that still call me, and I send them the link, obviously. Like, but it's super easy to do, and I got on Leafly. Well, all of a sudden I got people like the Riggy skunk and copycat that are like, hey man, like that's our genetics too. And I was like, oh, I didn't really like, and like I had my friend explain that we only pop 4 seeds to get Sour Sprees 1 and 3. Like it's just 4. I have like 400 seeds that we could just go to town. But it's just like this was just kind of like I found a sour diesel aspect of the sour spritzer that even the grower that made the seeds told me that nobody had. So I was just like, and then I had another old head that saw my weed that I entered in a secret cup recently. Like I didn't even put my name on it, kind of shit. Nice. But it's he told me, he's like, it looks like sour diesel. It looks like that head. And in my opinion, I don't know if you've heard this term out there, but people use this term called Tesla terps. You ever heard that one?
Not heard that one.
Okay, so Tesla terps means no gas.
I see.
So like obviously people are getting into these fruity strains, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like fruity stuff, and obviously you just heard what I'm crossing my sour sprees with. But at the same aspect, all my stuff will have gas in it. I want to make sure, because like I'm a gas smoker. It's not necessarily that I'm playing towards the hype. I'm just like I like
That's
gassy,
what you like,
sour,
yeah.
diesely, fucking just like fuel sour shit, you know?
I like it described that way better than saying cat piss. I hear, some people will say that, and it's like, why? Like, there's so many better ways to.
Well, I can't hurt too hard on that. I don't necessarily like that. Just like unicorn poop, it's a little bit
Yeah,
like and dingleberries and things. But I obviously enjoy the flavor of just under like laughing, and it's a fun
sure,
aspect now versus like back in the day, like you couldn't even talk about your genetics. You couldn't really talk
right.
about your growing. If you even mentioned that you were growing, that person could swat you and as such. They could just like, oh, well, I know that guy. Like I went to high school with him. He lives right down the street from me, and then like obviously they know you grow and then you
Hmm.
whatever. I just found over the years that it's
Or
just way more
extortion.
fun.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
like just
any
be
number of issues. Yeah, just to be hidden about it or to be behind the scenes. It's kind of like the I don't know if you ever saw the movie "Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood." The
that's a
guy comes out
classic
of
in
prison.
my house. I got it fucking on DVD. Well, I got it on like what do you call that? Allegedly
VHS.
like burn CD.
Oh yeah, there you go, the classic. Well, like there's that moment where the guy gets out of prison and he's at the barbecue, but he still feels like he's in prison and he's eating real fast and he's worrying about. That's kind of the feel I describe when marijuana goes legal in your state, and you're kind of like, do I talk about it? Do I not? Because there's still, even in Illinois, there's tons of like, closet smokers and closet growers and things like that. And it's like you can sort of be more open about it now, but
I
they,
like that you say that because like obviously like my favorite term right now is somebody said was you're coming out of your green closet. It's like
basically,
it really, it makes a lot of sense because there's some people that have been
I can't.
like I have doctors that I went to see for my car accident that once they learned what I do for, what I do, they just started like I would get like them taking notes like, well, how do I take this to the medical field? I'm just sitting there going like, man, like you guys make how much more than me? Like,
They just don't. It's
catch
like
me
they
on my
don't have
day
the
off.
time. Yeah, exactly. It's like they don't have the time to study what really is working. They're just forced through a system that they're in. Like they're kind of in a river, and
It's their
there's like,
license, and I got mad respect
yeah.
for doctors because they can lose their license, and they worked really hard to get those licenses,
Hmm.
and I got mad respect, and all they can do really is attach to people like us and try to get
Hmm.
information. But like I'm hoping that we can get declassification instead of this like Schedule 3 shit that I'm reading about.
Yes, now that's the issue, and actually, that's one article I have pulled up here, and that's happens to be from Marijuana Moment, and they're talking about the bill that the I believe it's the House. Let me look here. Um, I'll just read the title. A Democrat senators anti-cannabis banking vote explained. So one Democrat voted against the cannabis banking vote that's been put through. Now, to your point about the scheduling, like they just can't attach anything, any more power. They can't attach any more bills to that. If it's descheduled, it's just a descheduling. Like there's no way for them to shove pork into it. That's why they're never going to deschedule it. That's the issue. It's like there's no way for them. It'll have to be a bill of some kind, right? But that's going to go along with a whole bunch of other stuff. Anyway, not to
Well,
be
and that's just for
pessimistic, but
doctors, man. I feel like for me and you, like
right.
I've been growing like since I was like 16, which I wasn't growing very good, and I never really had access to good genetics and understanding of like fundamentals of soils and like what to use and all the education I have now. But like I feel like in terms of it, like we grew up never asking for permission. We never asked for forgiveness. We just fucking in my opinion, like as soon as I found weed that I liked it, that it felt good, that I got high, that it felt very like a part of my soul. And after years later, learning that obviously like your endocannabinoid system and that at birth, like your mother's cannabinoids, your mother's breast milk actually has cannabinoids in it. So like,
Oh,
hence like
I
when
didn't
you
know that.
stop breastfeeding, why you get all fussy and shit is because like, dude, I don't know if this is the case. Obviously, it's my personal opinion, but I
Mhm.
know for a fact that cannabinoids are in breast milk when you're born. So your endocannabinoid system, it's not like it just forms when you're adult. So like when you're a baby, obviously you have it as when you're an adult. So like I hear people say like, oh, cannabis isn't a part of me. Well, the kind of cannabis that you're talking about, maybe. But like if you
Right.
want to find maybe like, are you not eating? Are you not sleeping? These could be possibilities of CBN deficiencies or things like
Mhm.
those that you might need in your body that you actually need to help sleep.
I could totally see that because CBN has helped me to sleep, and
Big time.
I didn't know about it until recently, and for me, like I've always been the does it get me high or not, and it's so hard for me to wrap my mind around the individual the cannabinoids that maybe one person would be beneficial to than the other person, and it just goes down this rabbit hole, you know. And I know there are some nurses. Ash had a nurse on Fam Friday a couple weeks ago, and they were describing the whole system on how they figure out what it is that you might need. And to your point,
Oh,
I
yeah.
wonder, like the breast milk, I wonder if it's got like if it's giving us dopamine from that shock
Well,
of, you
there's
know.
studies out there. Like I know, like you can go online right now and you could look up, hey, are cannabinoids in breast milk? And like, obviously you'll be able to get different answers on it. But I just know, like when I during like the pandemic and shit, like when the lockdown happened, like obviously we were all there. I found this app called Clubhouse came out, and like I ended up learning and getting into rooms with people that were like fucking been in cannabis for like before I was born, kind of shit. So like, I feel like it's interesting to, I guess, to progress in the industry to where like we couldn't do anything but talk on this app. All you could do is just talk. It's just like me and you, except we couldn't see each other's faces. You could just see like if you're, you'd click your mic off and on to
Right.
say you wanted to talk and whatnot. But I met like probably like like an extra fourth, like a quarter of people that I never knew existed in the cannabis world,
Oh.
and that obviously I wouldn't live without now. So it's interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, it was more intimate at that time, and now it's like you just have so many places you can go. This is just Google, real quickly. We can look deeper, but it says, and it turns out, and this is from Best Doulas. Yeah, I know what doulas are. And it turns out, based on the findings of several major scientific studies, that human breast milk naturally contains many of the same cannabinoids found in marijuana, which are actually extremely vital for proper human development. Yeah, and there are a lot of foods that have you know, not THC, but well, I guess THC. Is it poppies have poppy seeds that are like on your bun at McDonald's, like that does have trace
It's for
amount.
amphetamines or something like that, I think.
So interesting. I didn't know that. So
Well, I
don't
know, like,
be
all right, so get this. Like, here's an interesting structure of things. Like, I remember one time, like, and it's like I feel really bad that it happened this way, but I basically was in probation and like I was getting drug tested and shit. Well, I still smoked weed and I couldn't help myself. And basically, I was like, my probation officer tested me. I'm in fucking handcuffs, like full on, like about to go to jail. They're about picking me up and shit, ready to like take me off. Right. So I was just at the doctor the day before. Okay, I was at the doctor the day before. I had like some dental work done, and they gave me some ibuprofen 800s. So I was like, oh, I was at the hospital yesterday, and they gave me medication. It could have given me a false THC positive. And I found out that they took the handcuffs right off me and let me out the fucking door because ibuprofen actually gives false THC positives on a regular fucking basis. Wow. So if you take an ibuprofen 800, you might hit a THC positive, and if you can explain why you have that medication, you could probably get off that test. I'm just going to say it.
Right, because that's prescribed. Right. That amount of ibuprofen would be prescribed, right?
It's 800. All prescribed. Yeah. If you look at ibuprofen 800, so those are used for like if they don't want to give you Oxycontins, which like say like you're a pain addict or you're a pill addict or something like that. They want to give you something that's more conditional. They'll give you ibuprofen 800s. So even so, if you didn't have those, like people, like you can go online and look up how many ibuprofens you can take. And generally, you can take a good amount of ibuprofen before it's unsafe. So at the same point, this was all prescribed, and I was taking 2 a day. So they looked at my list and they're like, oh, ibuprofen right there, get them out of cuffs. And at that time, it wasn't even online that it said that ibuprofen gave false positives. So I was like, in my opinion, one of the first, but it was only because I was trying to fucking say anything I could not to go to fucking jail.
Wow. Yeah. Because I failed. I've told my story before, but I failed 4 drug tests in the military, in the Army Reserves after going to war. It was the only thing that I kept being drawn back to. Like everyone else was alcoholics. I was an alcoholic in my early 20s. Not an alcoholic per se, but like early 20s, let's get wasted all the time kind of thing. That's a different.
I was an
That's a different
alcoholic. I
thing.
can 100% tell you I was fucking drank
Sure.
so much alcohol, but same difference, man. Like, I feel like to get caught, to hear you say that, like, I got caught, and what opinions of that. And yeah, I feel like military, yeah, they got their rigmarole with fucking drugs, but I mean, I'm seeing like fucking like, was it like Taylor Swift's man or whatever? He was buying blunts the other day. Like, so he posted some tweet, and a friend of mine noticed a pack of blunts that are on the left side of the picture, and he's just like, "Oh shit, he's buying fucking sticks." And obviously, they can smoke because NBA allows, or whatever sport he plays, they allow.
Yeah. Which is
And as
interesting.
you can
That's
tell, I don't
cool.
know what sport he plays. I don't pay attention to all that shit. I just know that he's dating Taylor Swift.
You're gonna all of the marketing and merchandising within the NBA now and stuff. It's gonna just explode. I think. I'm sure it already has been. I'm not really paying attention, but I can't imagine it wouldn't. But yeah, so man, like that's pretty incredible. You kind of glazed over it a bit, but not to poke at it too much, but the wreck, man, that is incredible. Like, so you attribute most of your recovery, or at least mentally, I'm guessing, to the cannabis, or in what did you do a lot of physical what do you call it, I'm missing the word, recovery, what's the word, physical, anyway,
somebody
will get it.
I can't think of that word either. Rehab?
Physical therapy, son of a bitch. Anyway, same difference. But
yeah, I went through a bunch of physical therapy. I find, like, to be honest, man, cannabis helped me through a bunch, just because my doctors wouldn't help me with medication. I had cancer. I had testicular cancer before.
Holy shit.
Kind of during my shit. Like, I mean, it's like, and then lockdown happened. So I went through cancer, and I didn't go through like radiation or anything crazy like that. But I had to get, I basically, at first I was inoperable, and I went through pain for like a year solid of just pain all the time. I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell my dad. I didn't tell my mother. I just couldn't tell anybody, because, like, I mean, when shit's inoperable, what do you want to tell people that shit for, and ruin everybody's fucking day?
Sure.
So I waited until I had a friend of mine that I was doing photos for, and he made oil, and like I took his activated oil for a long time, for I was taking grams a day, upwards of like 2 grams a day on days where like my nausea was just terrible. But obviously, I was just having nausea from my wreck. I think that's the memory sweeping through that. I apologize, but like my cancer, obviously, once I got it operated on after the year, I took the cannabis oil. I can't say that cannabis took away my cancer, but I can say that I was inoperable, and then I was taking cannabis oil every day, and then one day it was operable, and obviously I could tell everybody, like, hey, I'm gonna have surgery this week, so I had cancer. I'm like, my bad. Like,
wow,
I didn't tell
man.
you.
It's almost like you squeaked right by. Like, wow. But no, but you're totally right though. You're not the only story of this. A lot of us know this, and actually, I see my man Jimmy Mead in the comments here. Jimmy was in the hospital. Bless his soul, had a stroke. He was in the hospital. And he actually got our local hospital, and I don't know if that rippled through their wider system, but he got them while he was there to change their policy on edibles for patients.
I love that, man. Mad respect to Jimmy. Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah, and we will forever tell that story, because it was almost, I think he was live in the hospital, and he came up on my live, or on somebody's live on screen, and was telling us about it while it was basically going on. So definitely never going to forget that one. But yeah, they just have to, some of it has to be from us. And I've been talking to the community about this here and there during different parts of my shows. What I bring up that this, to me, is the only culture that's being built in America right now, is this solidarity of this culture.
Respect.
But from that, people a lot of times think of us as its own thing, the cannabis community, and we can't think of it that way. We have to think of our
culture. In my opinion, there's culture, and then there's community.
Yes, and we are part of the whole world community. So I think us outreaching from the cannabis community into everything, into music, into manufacturing, into products, into all these things that are connected to us now, into banking, all of it, all these events and stuff. We are now connecting from us outward. So it's like I don't know. It's hard to
Well, just
describe,
to
but
let you know, in banking, Wells Fargo, like when I made my big loot where I had to put a bunch of fucking money in a bank, like they just told me, they're like, look, don't bring in money that smells like weed. We know who you are. Like with like just, and obviously it's not like I was doing anything. They don't know, like, obviously that side. I feel like I have
sure,
so
sure.
many different variations of what I do. Good luck
Right.
finding the stuff on cannabis, but it's like I keep my
Hmm.
stuff separated. But yeah, that's crazy to think, man, that I mean, I enjoy to think of it that way. It's definitely a very cool like mindset that you got there.
Well, I mean, I have to think of the bigger picture sometimes because everybody likes to get sort of pigeonholed in their woes and their circle, like in the drama of the day to day around us. When it's like, well, hold on, it's not just like a lot of times you'll see, oh, there's a drama in the cannabis community. Like, no, 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 it's like there are
There's
people.
politics in the cannabis community.
Well, and that's in all communities, though. Honestly, like
Truth,
politics is just another word
politics
for
exists for a reason. That's why we have debate. You
sure.
know,
And that's what actually really like hearing people's perspective. And not to get way off topic, but my show on Thursdays is called People in the Boxes. And it's literally a meeting up of, we can get up to 10 people on this screen of other content creators, business owners, whoever wants to come in, not as an interview, but as a guest to hang out and talk about a very common centralized topic, like something that almost everyone would either have first or second hand, like thoughts on. And so what we do is we share our experience on it. So you and I could argue our opinions all day long, right?
yeah,
But what we do is we go, hey, here's the topic of, hell, we did freedom of speech. We've done so many things. I can't even remember what last week's was. But I'm having a brain fart right now. But we do these like very common topics, and then we have everyone share what their life's experience has been on it. And not just that, but we do get into opinions, and we get into sharing like a little bit of a debate, but it very rarely gets too bad. And it's like it's about perspective because
it's like in different dimensions. I mean,
yes,
obviously, like, like the whole world of like being a patient, like, I feel like
mm,
everybody's a patient, like, as much as like there are recreational users and
100%
stuff,
for sure. Hmm.
so like, as much as like we were talking about like my cancer and shit, like it folds into like my wreck. So like, obviously I went and got my cancer good, and it was like a couple, like a month later, like I'm good to go. Like I was like, oh fuck, man, I just got rid of cancer. And then I was out buying a pound of cannabis legally, medical, and my driver basically ran a stoplight, and I got
Oh
T-boned by
wow.
a drunk driver. So like I don't remember any of it. Like I don't like have, because like when I woke up I was like 10-second Tom and such, but I was actually shorter than
Wow.
that. Every like 3 seconds I would reset, and it was like my wife was there, and like I guess I called her like a million times, because like I kept telling her like, oh my god, like I don't know what's going on, like I'm in the hospital. And then when I finally woke up, and I like kind of knew what was going on, she like told me, she's like, babe, you're in the hospital. And I was like, why is my shoulder hurt? She's like, you got in a fucked up wreck. Like you are all messed up. And then I basically, my third question was, where's my fucking weed? And they told me, she goes, babe, it's right here. You're like, you got to understand, the cops fought the cops actually like basically I was awake, I guess, and I had my paperwork, and I was like, that's mine. I have paperwork that says, I have a medical card that says I can buy that. That's mine, and here's my medical card. I don't remember this, but the cops fought for me and actually forced the ambulance. So I was at Swedish Medical in Colorado with a pound of cannabis in the ICU for I don't know how many days, and they had to force my wife illegally. They had to follow her home, kind of shit, to take it home, because she wasn't allowed to touch that bag, but it was in a locked
Right.
bag. So everybody out there, get a fucking basically look online for those like lock boxes that you can get. They're made out of like canvas, and make your
Uh,
exit bag locked.
I know what you're talking about. I got one right here.
Oh, you got an EPC bag, do you? I love those bags.
I don't even know where it went now.
But anybody out there, so these bags basically, like back in the day, everybody, if you were buying like an ounce, you would get like a regular fucking exit
Funk
bag.
Fighter bag. It's got a lock on it, a zipper and lock and everything. It's
See, that's a little
the small version.
smaller.
Yeah, there's bigger versions of it, but
Mine was like mine could hold 5 pounds in it, and like it had like
well,
this was back when you could buy, like, okay, so the early days you could get a 599 plant count card, and that meant that you could have, and then that meant that you could have all the way up to that, as well as you could stack 5 patients in your house. So times you times 5 other people to $5.99. So you could have thousands of plants in your house, and they had no way of asking, "Hey, where'd that go?" Or like, "What did you do with that?" Or like, "Are you really using all that?" And
There's
like,
no, yeah,
but at the
there's no
terms
like
of it, I was
follow
a
up.
doctor for all my friends. I was a doctor for anybody that would come to me and say, "Hey, my family has cancer. My family's got this." So it's an interesting world to think that like cannabis, we have our own doctors. Like, I get that we got PhDs and you need to be that smart, but like I feel like some of the people like you and the people in the culture, they're very educated, and the fact that they are PhD, I mean, they're street HD, like
Right. Or people who are how do I put it? Continuing to learn as they go through life. I mean, there's some people that just want to get through the day. There's other people like myself. I'm interested in things. I may not want to go to college, but like, I like to know a little bit about
you don't
everything.
need college anymore.
No, and not at all. And I tell you, like, I'm not. I've been accused of being a know-it-all. Some of you may or disagree or agree, but I'm not. Like, it's more about like I'll tell you all day long. This is what I think, or this is what
We're
is
all
possible.
students, man. Like we're all just students in this, and obviously some of us are a little more advanced than others. And like to me, I don't know everything. I definitely like I grow some really cool stuff, and like I got some really like in my terms like it makes me really happy that I grow really cool stuff. But like I don't really think that like I grow the best. I think that there's like way better people, in my opinion. All the people that send me their genetics and stuff to do my film projects with, I mean, these are people that are basically giving me their babies. And then like
Yeah,
I'm telling them like, "Hey, can I make a strain of this?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, as long as you include me in all of your photos." And I'm just like, fuck, eventually I'm gonna probably have like 100 people tagged in all my shit.
everything all combined up together. It's like you got 100 granddaddies. Yeah, no,
Well, think about it like this.
pretty
My
crazy.
entire brands, like the Munchies and Glassborn, they're built on the fact of I ask people permission. So in the early days, I could not go out physically to restaurants. I couldn't physically go film glass. So I found out that like 99% of people in chefs and almost anything that you can think of, food, sports, all that shit, there's people out there that take content and do not credit the source. So I found that if I
Yes,
built brands based on that and I ask permission and I actually message these people and say, "Hey, I'll make sure I link like hyperlink you in there and like actually credit, if there's a photographer, a glass shop, you name it,
right.
I'll credit everybody." And I did this for free I mean, I still do a bunch of free features to this day. But like obviously like Facebook pays so well now that
Right.
like I find myself
Makes
like I
sense.
said, you don't need college. Like fucking A, like I swear I could teach you guys how to be on social media. And like I mean I swear, I mean I have friends of mine like today that sent me like, "Oh dude, you got in-stream ads? I just made $46,000 this month."
For from the in-stream ads alone, or does it break it down like that, or
No. That's just all right. So I have 6 different ways that I can make money. All right.
one
I
placement?
have live ads, I have in-stream ads, I have real ads, I have bonuses, and then I also have subscribers, and then I have stars. So I have 7. I have 7 different things.
Hmm.
Now, obviously, so like if you do videos, like if you're doing a podcast, but if you were able to take off your sponsors in a fashion to where they didn't show on screen, and you're able to find a new way to, I guess, represent, or even if it's just saying their name instead of like plastering like things that, obviously the content gets you in trouble. I find that
Yeah,
like, you can like, get content out, because I'm like about to work with a really famous glass artist. I can't say his name, but like
sure.
super famous. Everybody knows his fucking work. And like, let's just say he's about to do his own show. And like, I'm going to help him, but obviously I'm going to help him for free, because I think that like, this is somebody I look up to. So I think it's kind of cool to look after it. This person, I gotta say, I had the owner of Grassroots actually like pimp me out to this dude. So I have to say, like, I don't even go out and tell people about my shit. Like you see me, like I'll post my numbers every month, but that's mainly so my haters, if they have a calculator and they want to actually calculate the 452 million people I reach, I got screenshots for days, and I'm pretty sure it's over 500K.
Mhm.
I just keep it small because, I mean, I'd rather keep it humble. You got to stay humble and hustle hard. That's a
I did
hard
wonder
struggle.
about that though, because that seemed like all I was seeing from you. I was like, I couldn't tell. I was like, and obviously it's a different beast at that level. You, like you said, you've maybe stacked up a few more haters than I have, And from my perspective, I was just like, all I ever see from him is shouting out his numbers. But you say it's a monthly thing, so maybe I'm just not noticing like the time, and I just like I'll see it every now and then. But regardless, like it's pretty amazing. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. Like the guy, you're reaching 5% of the planet. I mean,
Yeah, now
and
the
more now. I
population
mean,
changes. The population keeps changing, obviously, every year. So, like, my
there's a
five
war
percent
right
will be
now. You
like,
might be reaching higher percentage soon. So
well, it
no
goes
offense to the
lower,
war.
and like obviously, like I look after like Facebook has 2.2 billion users, and if I'm reaching 452 million of them, like that's got to be a pretty good dent on. I think it's like close to 20% of Facebook or something like close to that.
Oh, sure.
So I look
It
after
is.
like that, like honestly, like my numbers, like they're it's like a lot of times I get like, I'll get 7.8 million and I'll get 7.8 million next month. I'll get 7.8 million next month. And obviously like all my stuff is all detailed out to where like it's shown like it usually I have in those screenshots, it'll say like the month or it'll say like, there's dates in there. Even I'll actually go in there in my link profile where I have my business card. And like I actually have pictures of actual like features that you can see 22 million people hit that one post and how many days they did it for. And I list like all that stuff. So it's mainly because I got to tell you, like when I first started adding my numbers up, and like seriously, like I got friends like Dab Stars that I told him to add his numbers up. And it's crazy. You almost think to yourself, am I real? Is this fake? But at the same point, I can actually to my extension, like right now, I hit like I think I hit 2.8 million people now, and it's been a day, like 24, 26 hours max. 2.8 million people off of just one post that's viral right now. And I have 7 posts that are viral, and that one post is paying out anywhere from like, I don't know, 1,000 a day to more.
So I get it with the approach. Like if I didn't smoke cannabis on the screen, if I didn't have honestly the all the sponsors on the screen, that's because I'm smoking cannabis and I'm not going to remember to talk about them all that often. So here
Well,
you
no,
go.
and trust me, if you look at my old shows, man, I used to do all that stuff. I had a full like, and I like the way you do your show. I don't want you to change it. I think doing it on this platform and like using the platforms to your advantage, I think cannabis shows should have that right to be having sponsors on the screen and having people like these people are my friends and they help me out and I want to show off this grow and I want to show off these people. But at the same point, like it's like I find like my Facebook, it's crazy. I've had to turn my Facebook 100% professional. Like I can't post anything cannabis unless somebody tags me, and then 99% of the time I will remove it off my profile because as much as it is like people know I do cannabis. People know I do cannabis work. People know, that's what I do. But at the same point, like with the munchies and, I have little kids that follow my brands now. So like, it's like something to where like a younger generation. And the whole point of the munchies was, if you look up the munchies right now on Instagram or Facebook, that hashtag has maybe 15,000 people that have used it because of the connotation of the and munchies. If you type in munchies, look, I mean, Vice has that page called Munchies and they're viral. So I look after the Munchies has been this huge, painful thing because cannabis is attached to it. So I'm trying to normalize this. So now I have little kids that they call with their mom and they're like, oh my God, I love the Munchies. The Munchies. So it's mainly to repopulate, like, I guess I dimensionalize somebody's brain so they can understand how many people don't use the Munchies because it correlates to the fact that you're stoned or you're drunk.
Yeah, and this a similar thing happened with I want to say Oklahoma. I'm not sure what state, but they tried to they tried to outlaw naming cannabis after candies and cookies and things like that.
I have a giant list in the lab. I was just in taking photos of giant list. Can't use it, but they do. But nowadays, I just saw Gushers today. I just videoed and took photos of Gushers, so I know that those things are falling off. But I think the biggest problem is people need to understand, like you saw it, like for a fact that like fucking Skittles got fucking nailed by fucking the actual Skittles company for using their brands. So like I feel like using Gushers, you're asking for it. You're just asking for it.
Yeah, and it's like they think, I don't know what the thought is, like, I'm going to get a lot of people to like it. Maybe that's true, but when you name it after something that's already out there, you're even if it's not candy or food related, anything. It's like if I named it, Chevy Silverado, and it's like, someone's going to come after you, like someone's
So
going to
true.
look at this pie, man. Oh my God, we could spend days. You guys, if you don't know about the Munchies, and if you haven't been picking this up, he keeps his non-cannabis content separate, and you run two very successful pages, the Munchies and Glass Porn. Guys, if you're wanting to go check it out, we'll check out Glass Porn too. But no, I definitely get it. I feel that.
Well, if
And
you
I
scroll
actually,
down, keep scrolling down until you see, keep going. There'll be a
man,
blueberry, it'll look like French toast. Keep going.
I don't want to scroll down anymore.
Keep going. Keep going.
No.
Keep going. It's
What
getting
is
there.
this? Is that a cake?
That's a cake.
Okay, all right.
It's a cake, and that's keep going. It's gonna keep going. It's
Like a
almost there.
blue,
I promise.
blue. Oh, what is?
It's right underneath this. So that right there. Look how
Oh
many likes and
man.
shares that has.
Oh, wait. I'm not. Get off there. 20,000. Well, 20,002. Well, more probably. I don't know how the numbers work, but somewhere over 20,000.
Yep. So
Yeah.
20,000. That post right there with 20,000 people. That's obviously reaching 2.8 million, and it structures for the fact that there's like there's like the people, the 20,000 actually shared it, and then you got to think about the hundreds of thousands of people on each of those people's pages that just saw it. They don't have to even interact with it. The fact that they just scrolled past it, to me, it's an instant like, and then I get to see the numbers roll out. And that post there is Caleb Hahn. He's a good friend of mine that I just met recently. That I saw his stuff and reached out, and I was like, hey man, it's a lot easier obviously now to reach out to people, because like people would be like, holy shit, this guy has like 500,000 followers. But I've been doing this when I had 100 followers, and I've only done this, like, if anybody out there wonders how long this took, it's only been 3 years and 9 months that I
Since you started the Munchies. Now let's be totally real. Did you build it off of a following from the cannabis content or such other things? Were you doing content at the time in other ways, is I guess the right question.
No, it's like this. So what it was is Cannabis TV just hit like 300,000 people. And I'll tell everybody, Cannabis TV was a friend of mine, Ben Heisenberg's. He used to own, it was called Cannabis when it first started. Well, he started getting deleted from Facebook and getting all this shit. And he was just having a headache every day, because we all know what it's like when they take our social media. It's fucking gut wrenching. So like he just, one day I was like, hey man, can I take this over? And he said, sure. So I took over Cannabis, turned it into Cannabis TV, and then obviously we built it from, I think, like 20,000 to like the 50,000 to, I think there might have been 90,000 people in there, up to like 300, and like we had 350,000 before Facebook deleted us. I got it back, but at the same time, like, okay, so I had somebody say that I was fake. That they say, well, that's not yours. You didn't create that. So technically, yeah, you created Cannabis TV, but you did not create that group. So, and as such, that's what kind of helped you. So what I did is I said, okay, it's locked down.
It's not bad.
It's 100%. Like, we're all at home. Everybody's fucking locked down. I got no food. I got nothing to do. I'm going to start 2 pages at the exact fucking same time. And if I can hit like 1 million people, like reaching 1 million people, and see how long that takes, and see how long it takes to get to the 500,000 people. And then obviously, like, I didn't have food, so I was finding places from across the seas that, and different states that haven't locked down fully yet, and I was posting their food. I was messaging them saying, hey, can I feature you on, like, during lockdown, and this is really making me smile. Because if everybody remembers, during lockdown, everybody is fighting about COVID. They're fighting about politics. They were fighting about the fucking election. They were fighting about vaccinations, and Facebook was completely a wreck. You couldn't even go on Facebook or Instagram and enjoy shit, because everybody's fucking yelling at each other. So obviously it came to a good time that I was just posting food, and I never thought, and I'll tell you this, I never ever thought the Munchies and Glass Porn would get paid. I never thought I would ever have brands that would be reaching so many people, helping brands, helping chefs, things like that. I never thought this would be the thing, but obviously I made these brands because I had haters say that I wasn't real. So now I took screenshots from every day from then. And then obviously I didn't start posting my numbers till my wife told me that I need to be more open and post my numbers. Like, I need to show people that I'm reaching hundreds of millions of people, or at least in the early days, I was reaching 1 million people. And then I was like, okay, is that real? But then I just go back. And I mean, if you think about it, if you hit 22 million, like 5 times. That's 100 million. That's pretty close to 100 million. I mean, so I look after, like, I was reaching it in the early days when it first started. I was reaching like 22, 23 million people every single month, 15 million, 17 million, 18. And I took screenshots of all these numbers. And obviously, when I show my business card to people, they can link right to it. And the whole purpose is obviously, like, I've been told my whole life that I, like, people are saying I'm full of it or I'm fake and I'm this and that. But obviously, I have full proof now that, and I even taught some of the biggest celebrities in the world. I have actual celebrities that I can call and say, hey, man, can you tell these people that I taught you how to do all this social media money stuff? And then now you're making like 40 racks a month because of the stuff I taught you. And I guarantee I'd have a line around the block, because, like, I feel like the realism of all of this is I teach people for free. And then there's, like, obviously I can't teach everybody for free, and I have a lot of other stuff going on. So in that terms, like, that's when I start charging. But at the same time, I've taught so many people, even my Uber drivers. If I'm in a fucking Uber for more than an hour, I'm fucking teaching them how to put screens in their cars and go to restaurants and take screenshots of their fucking menus and shit, and charging
There we go.
$100 per ad.
Yep. Going into restaurants from Uber Eats or from DoorDash. There you go. Get awesome meals all the time. I've been taking photos. I do a review show now, and I go. It helps me get out of the house. It helps me have a reason to go talk to other business owners. And sometimes I go to restaurants, and then I try to get the food. Not nearly like these cool pictures, but it's fun.
Well, honestly, dude, do a separate blog. Like, I tell everybody, like, okay, like, what I did is I went on Instagram. All right, I found out in the early days. This is something that I found out, my numbers, not anybody else's, but I found out that 74% of people with Facebook don't have Instagram, and 63% of people with Instagram don't have Facebook. So, and that's on a consistent basis. I have people that message every day, and I'm sending, like, people from Glassborn saying, hey, you got to go to Instagram, and I got like 9 out of 10 people or sorry, like 6 out of 10 people that are constantly, like, saying, I don't have Instagram. I don't have Instagram. So I use those numbers to my advantage. So what you do is you go on Instagram and you find a popular hashtag. And then you turn that hashtag into a brand on Facebook. And then you just start asking all those people that post in that hashtag on Instagram if you can feature their stuff. And you're off and running.
So then you have a source of content.
24/7. And, like, to me, like, I mean, I post every 4 hours specific. In the early days, I was posting every 4 hours. Nowadays, I just basically I have a new magazine that I just released with a new friend, with a business partner of mine in Las Vegas. So we have the first printed desserts and libations magazine ever. So there's never been a printed food magazine ever in Vegas. So I find myself doing a lot more projects now, to where I don't have time to be posting every 4 hours. But I found that, like, with Facebook, it's different than Instagram. People get instant gratification on Instagram. They want to have fast likes, fast views, all that stuff. Well, on Facebook, like, holy shit, it's like fly fishing. The longer you keep your content out in that water, out online, your shit's going to go viral 10 to 20 times over. And I mean, on that page there, I used to post function stuff. And nowadays I work with artists to where we make, like, where the joint goes, where you put the bowl, we make an extra art piece that goes in there, so you can't fucking tell where the bowl is. And that's the way that I can do glass on a regular basis, because basically people that look at things as an artistic form, and obviously it is art, but then the second that you start pulling water through it, or you start doing a dab or whatever, and if I do those, they're so far away you can't fucking tell what's going on.
What about this one?
Oh, that's love. And you can see, like, the artist is right there. It has both the artists.
Is that a bong?
They're right next to the paint sign.
Oh,
yeah, right
bluegrass glass.
Yeah, bluegrass glass, and then somebody else, right?
Sarita glass.
Yep, Sarita glass. And Sarita, like, she does a lot of the flower stuff, and then obviously the other artist does those lamps. So that collab is, and that's what I never understood glass when I started, and now, like, I know, like, words like filicello, and, like, filicello is basically like a bunch of lines, but they're filled in colors. So if you see, like, somebody like Kevin Murray glass that does, like, he does, like, really heady, like, they almost look like designs, and people are like, well, how'd you do that? Well, what they do is these guys are taking, like, really thin pieces of glass, like teeny tiny thin pieces, and they use them like a pencil, and then they draw all those designs in there, and then they fill in the colors, and then like they'll basically hit it with a flame and they can smooth it out. And I mean, some of the stuff on there,
Wow.
it'll blow your mind. And I mean, I've seen pieces that sold for $1 million. I mean, that piece right there, that's like a $50,000 Lamborghini. That's more than most people's cars these days. But at the same time, if people look after it, you can smoke out of that.
I'm trying to guess. Let's see. Do you put your mouth on the intake or the exhaust?
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't know on this piece. I've never seen it in person, but I do know that on the back end of that car where the engine is where the bowl goes in.
I see.
So
I
if
guess.
anything, it might be on that door. Who knows? Like that
Yeah.
door, like you got to think that nothing's going to move on this because it's glass. So
Sure.
like that thing's sitting up. You got to think it's up for a reason. But at the same point, they're showing off their different techniques, and the fact that these guys and girls, and I got to tell you, the women in the industry, it's like a male dominated kind of world in the glass world, like it is in a lot of ways, and even in the food world. And I find that like I gravitate to girls glass. I can't help myself. And I mean, the main reason is most of my following is women, and I think it's because I just like pretty stuff. I don't like, I don't need to have like if you see me dress, I definitely I like loud shit.
Well, I mean, I doubt there's an audience for like ugly stuff. I mean, all this stuff. I don't see anything that's too girly. There's some like obvious girl stuff, like this one, maybe.
Nope, that's a guy.
But like, I'm just looking from a
Oh
who
yeah,
would
yeah, and
use it
understood.
perspective, you know.
Oh,
And so it
respect.
would
And
be probably
honestly,
really
like,
hard to tell. I'm sure from my perspective, it'd be hard for me to say who made, like if a man or woman made this. No idea. I would
trust
assume
me,
a
man.
man.
Like that is Ishtar Glass. She's a real sweetheart, and like I
She's a
find
woman.
like
Yeah.
it's just a cool thing. Like obviously, like in terms of if you look up different like communities, and like we were talking earlier about the culture in cannabis, and like obviously like it'd be hard for somebody like from like Coca-Cola to try to come into our industry and try to talk to us, just like the same as it would be
Mhm.
if somebody normal tries to get into the glass world, because every glass artist I talk to thinks, and they're wondering and waiting for me to ask for my punchline. They're like, well, how much do you want? Like, do you want a glass piece? And I've had Banjo Glass. Like Banjo does $30,000 pieces, and he offered to give me one, and I told him no. And it's nothing impersonal. I got some really nice glass on my desk here, but I do not ask for free stuff because I would rather that artist like teach them how to make money, or like teach them how to do their
Right.
social media, and then like one day earn their respect. And then yeah, sure, I'll put a piece of your glass in my house.
Well, and you don't need it. I mean, you might need it. I'm not. That's not for me to say. But my point is like, if you're able to, and I've thought about this recently. If I was able to flip my whole plan was to eventually build a farm where I am, selling food. Well, I thought about it recently. I was like, what if I flip this on its head and I build the social media to the point where I'm making those revenues like you're doing without people having to shell out a lot of money to me, and I can pay for food to be given away to people at said like pay what you can kind of a situation, and then I make that like like Pawn Stars or something where I have like a live podcast going on at the farm for a few hours a day or whatever, and have and just local people can come in and get shout outs and do different collabs like that, and if I could make this whole thing, and my whole plan in the first place was to use the glitz and the glamour and the entertainment and celebrityisms to popularize self-sustainability, not because it's
Respect
the
that.
easiest, it's not the quickest like way for me to get likes, you know what I'm saying, but there is a whole audience for gardening and stuff. I'm trying to bring that to everybody because a lot of people think their food just comes from from the grocery store. Like they don't realize, what it takes. And for me to branch out into just talking to people like you who have that following, it's like that's exactly what I'm about. Like you grow, and so do a lot of celebrities. So do I. Like there's so many big stories, or so many topics within this, like these glass blowers. That's self-sustainability all day, bro. Like
Yeah, but
no one's
most of
telling
them
them when
like
to wake up.
see, this is why I'm trying to teach them to make this extra cash, because like I see there's a big gap out there, and I
Mhm.
say it. I don't say it enough, but I probably should. But like these glass shows, and that's not everyone. Like obviously the ones that are made by glass, like the glass blowers that are making these shows, but like I've been to a couple of shows to where like, I go in and like the glass is like, obviously it used to be the center stage for their show, right? And then nowadays you can't even find it. They don't even say glass over here. They don't go on the loudspeaker and say, hey, if you guys want to check out some cool glass, there's some custom stuff being made in the center stage. And like, I gotta say, they pay to be at those shows. They pay like, around $800 to $1,200 for a booth.
Right.
And
It's
that's like
crazy.
they're making art for these shows. Like those shows are making money off them, and like they have to pay to be there. So obviously, I think like that's another reason why I do my blog and such, is because if I can give exposure like this such in a heavy way. I've seen a lot of artists sell pieces, like I've had artists message me and be like, dude, I just sold a piece that it's been sitting in my place for 5 years. So in my terms, like I'm trying to, I guess, incorporate to hopefully one day, they hire me for this shit.
Sorry, I thought there was a better
Oh, you're good.
one of these here. Give me 1 second.
I like your
We'll
style,
just
man. It's really wonderful to see
let's
somebody
do
using like
this.
OBS, or I don't know if that's what you're using, but I used to love
Yeah,
OBS.
OBS and StreamYard, and I have 5 different devices going on. There's like 8 different lights in my face. Like I'm doing things, man, but by myself, it's taken. It takes a toll. But
Trust me, man.
honestly,
Look at this sucker. This is my main.
oh man, look at that.
Yeah, it's a water
Oh,
cooled, and I got like multiple screens and shit.
yeah, that's
I built
the
this.
way to go for
Well,
sure.
this was a build, and I just have to say, like, it was one of my first like instances of I knew that I was on the way up, because I was like, how the hell does anybody get an $8,000 computer? And I'm like, oh, okay, like you can get one. I got it, most of it through trade. So Crow fam love, and hey, mad love to anybody that's out there that's growing. And if you guys are out there growing and like you guys are like nervous to grow, or you guys want to get into growing, start just putting seeds in the soil, because I got to tell you, just being able to smell soil every day for me is just like an aphrodisiac.
What do you? We want to get into that too. Actually, we kind of got a little off topic, but I really, I love what you do on the pages, and I like how you're playing the. I will be perfectly honest. I really hate the FB, and I hate a lot of the big tech overlords. All of the things. Not to get into politics, but it also works with cannabis. It works with religion. There's several sort of key things out there in society that on YouTube, on Facebook, you're just being shunned, you're being demonetized, you're being, shadow banned, whatever you want to call it. We know this is true because of those Twitter files that came out. We know this is true. So I use a lot of alternative sites, and I'm on a few now that we could shut off Facebook right now, and we could leave Rumble up, and you and I could have a conversation about anything we want, as long as we're not out there inciting violence or anything illegal, like where it should be, the wild west of where like YouTube was. And so for me, it's really hard for me to go, yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and pay the extortionist, or I'll pay the bully to leave me alone, because they've been bullying the hell out of me for months. Not because I don't get real restrictions. I get these like things that suddenly I just can't do this thing now. It's gone. It's just gone off the screen.
Just know, if you want to ever talk to somebody about that, you should talk to my business partner that does cannabis TV with me. Like Joe.
I bet.
Joe has been like, I swear, like they'll do stuff to him. Like, I mean, he got his blue verification check, right? He got his blue check. He paid for his check, right? And shit. And then they fucking tell him that he can't monetize. Then they like tell him that he's in jail. And like they hit, like for me, I have posts that I used to get hit from like, I mean, everybody's seen it. I got hit from like shit that was like 20 years ago or like 10 years ago or some shit. But yeah, I feel like if anything, man, it's like using those different platforms to your advantage. Like me, I do not post anything from my grow except for on Reddit and fucking Instagram. That's it. And fucking if somebody tags me on Facebook, like I said, I'll put it on my profile for a little bit, get them some love. But I have a lot riding on it. I feel like to me, to be able to get to this point to where like, okay, how the fuck am I getting monetized? Like I am like the biggest cannabis person in the fucking like planet, all my, even on Instagram, I'm verified. So it blows me away that like they actually give me better leniency. And that's why I think you need to get one. Nothing against like the whole factor of bouginess, but like, I just have to say, when you are open about that, you got your blue check as a business decision. And I'll tell you this, when you comment, like you can go on, you could follow Jay-Z right now. You go follow Lil Wayne on Facebook or Instagram
Mhm.
right now. And when you have your blue check and you go comment on their page, your shit stays on the top, stays up there forever. So like
Hmm.
obviously there's different things that can give if you're in cannabis, you can talk about certain things, you can say things, you can show certain things. So it's just to me having a blue check to where even Instagram has told me they're like, look, you're shadow banned to fucking hell. You are like people can't even find me unless they type my exact fucking name. But yet I'm verified. And then
Hmm.
another good point is they've
So
also
weird.
told me that hey, you can only show your content to people that follow you. That's the newest thing on Instagram, and that's a way that obviously now they don't give a. I can post whatever the fuck I want as long as I'm not posting strain names, as long as I'm not posting sales or I'm not tagging fucking dispensaries. You know,
Hmm.
obviously simpler things.
That's weird to me too, like the dispensary thing, because you might live right next to a dispensary and have a deal with them to where you're reviewing their products and stuff, and you know you should be able to. But to your point, I have an Instagram. It doesn't go too far for me. I think for 380, I think something like that.
Not bad. I started
Um,
with 240, and now I'm up to like 4,000, like 200. But it's mainly because like I get followers in a different way. I find people have to meet me to ever follow
yeah.
me. Like, no, I will never ever be. My content will never be seen. Like any of my anything I do with my strains, or like when
Hmm.
we're crossing stuff or pollination, none of that stuff is ever going to be seen. At least until like until of some kind declassification would happen. But
Right
even if that even
down the
happened,
road.
government's going to control everything. Fucking Facebook, obviously, like I look after that. They have their own domain. It's like when people complain to me and say, "Well, I have the freedom of speech." I'm like, "Yeah, you got freedom of speech on Earth, but you don't on Facebook."
Right. Yeah,
So
and
I
I
mean,
totally agree. Like you could probably be pretty open about it on X now, to an
yep,
extent.
X is
Uh,
wide open. You can actually
yeah.
advertise if you go on X right now. You could advertise your podcast with fucking like 10 sponsors on your screen.
Yeah, we're live on it right now, but no one sees it. It's the some similar thing to Instagram. Only my followers will see it. So I get over there and I do these spaces. I'm in a few communities over there. I've been working on it sort of. I work on a lot of different sites, a little bit here and there. And some people will say, "Oh, you want to concentrate?" I never want to concentrate on one site. I never want to have a whole bunch of Facebook profiles because I keep getting banned. Anyway, let,
Hmm.
let's 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 change direction and get back into grow talk
I
because we
like
could talk about that
gross.
all day, and that's just infuriates me. What's up, Mama Rochi in the house? What's up? So, guys, I really appreciate you hanging out. We got 62 people hanging out. Guys, hit the like button, please, and go check out our man Doc Hollywood and the Glass Porn and the Munchies. If you want to be hungry, go check those out.
Mad
Um,
love.
but the growing though, you were talking about sort of guerrilla growing for a long time. But let's just more recent. Like what kind of stuff are you into? Are you into more outdoor or indoor? Indica, sativa. Let's get into the basics, you know.
I like that, man, and obviously that's why I'm gonna take like probably an extra hour or whatever, just because like I haven't got called from my other thing I was doing,
Oh,
so
cool.
might as well chill out and talk about
Yeah.
some gross
I'll
stuff.
do a
But
dab. Yeah.
sweet, so I figure I'm gonna do a dab real quick too. Pen's
So,
on.
yeah, I mean, we do like a big question of mine to most people who grow cannabis is, do you grow anything else? You know, that's a huge one I always ask too. Because to me, I am the gateway drug for the cannabis community into self-sustainability. Like I'm turning every cannabis grower's mind into like opening their mind into thinking, oh, I spend money on this food every week at the grocery store. Maybe I could grow it along, grow some of it with my cannabis, and then maybe one thing, and then maybe two things, and that turns into a whole garden one day. And and it's kind of interesting. I've actually brought some people into the fold. Like I'm making a cult of people who grow their own food.
Well, I dig it because I worked with I did a project with a person that I was gonna help with their nutrients and get it out to the world or whatever. Like it ended up being south, but whatever. I think the premise was good, and it was backyard farming. Like we were talking about sustainability through growing, and obviously, like I've had like Garen Angel. He does Magical Butter, if you guys have seen, and like he's offered to send me his new grow thing and all that. But at the
Hmm.
same, for right now, man, I feel like I'd like to grow peppers. I'd like to grow everything else, but I'm focusing mainly on my cannabis grows, and it started out as like at first I'm doing photography, and obviously like it's kind of funny story. I used to tell people I was a photographer back in the day because I had to explain how I had money all the time, or like, whatever. So I had to have an explanation. Allegedly, this is what I do. I'm a photographer. So, and then eventually it turned out that I would take pictures of my weed that I would grow, and the better the pictures were, the faster, whatever it'd go. So I
Sure.
started realizing that I kind of liked photography a little bit as a hobby. And as much as it is, I'm a professional photographer now. I get paid to do it, but at the same time, like I needed to learn at home. And when you're doing trichome photos and you're trying to learn stuff that there's no YouTube videos out there to learn how to do this shit. There's nothing. Like nobody's going to teach you how to be their competition. So
Sure.
I had to grow at home. And then also at the same time, I was just getting over my brain injury to where I was starting to get a little bit of like the cloud gone. I was starting to be able to come back a little bit. And that's when I was like, I want to get back into growing. And like, I didn't know if I could. And I was like, okay, I can have these photography times and I'll just take pictures the whole way up. I'll just do this little grow thing. And,
Mhm.
eventually it turned into people liked my photos and they liked how I showed the plants and how they were growing. And they liked how I would take time and detail. And like, I actually recently by a really famous fucking amazing grower, Exclusive Seeds, my buddy, he's been making genetics for like 20 years now, 10, 15 years, something like that. And he told me that I'm an actual craft grower. He told me I'm one of the like a real craft growers. And in my opinion,
Sure.
I don't call myself something
Well,
until
that sounds
somebody,
right, though.
until somebody tells you you are.
I mean, if you're going to go to the extent of making your own strains and stuff, although maybe you hadn't at that point yet, um, but I feel like I don't know. There might be an actual definition, but when you're going to that extreme of creating new strains, like that's
Well, creating new
craft grow.
strains, I mean, imagine this. Like, I had to learn how to grow. So, like, at first, I had people that were friends
Cheers,
of mine
everybody.
that had, like, I was looking online and noticed they had a bunch of auto flowers. And I found online that, like, they're like, hey, if you want to, like, a quick course in growing, like, do some auto flowers. So I think, like, I did one auto flower. I would pop a bunch of seeds and I would pick one that was the best grower, and then I would grow that one. And then, I think it took me, I think like 2 or 3 of those before I started growing photo periods. And I mean, to be honest, man, like it's an interesting structure to understand, like learning what your plant wants and needs at such a small level. Cause I mean, I know that right now I could probably I could probably grow maybe 100 at a time. I'm not going to say like 1,000, but I can probably grow 100
Comfortably,
decent
right? Yeah.
comfortably. I could do that. But obviously in my grows, I grow in my bathtub. So I have a spare, now that I own my own home, I have a second bathroom that has a bathtub that we don't need to use, and we don't have friends over long enough for them to use it. So,
Interesting. That's probably good. That's a good place, man. You wouldn't have a spill or anything.
well, no spills. The best part is you can do top bottom feeding super easily. It drains.
Oh yeah.
Another good part is the porcelain actually is reactive towards the light, so you'll get a lot of underbranch lighting because of that.
I have a shower in my basement I've been using to where I fill things up because the RO system, if you guys are out there and you're a new grower, you don't walk away from the RO system, forget that it's going because, eventually you just, you forgot for 2 hours and then it's just running all over the floor.
Well, mad respect that you make that stuff, because like in my world, like I just grow. Like what it was is I wanted to prove to myself and I guess prove to others, because I went online and I found the cheapest, crappiest fucking light that you could fucking buy, a Mars Hydro. I think they said it was a 600 watt, but then I found out that was the actual model name, is that was their
Mm-hmm.
ploy, that they
Yep.
called it a 600W.
Right.
But anyways, it was less than 90 par. Like I was getting, or less than 90 fucking watts is what I was getting
Ooh.
from the actual, the par was not even reading. But I grew 3 auto flowers with that. Grew great, awesome. And then I had Spider Farms. They pretty much give lights to everybody. If you just ask Spider Farms, they'll give you a free light right now. But they gave me one of their lights. They're like, hey, try this out. So I did, I think like 2 grows with that. And then finally, like I just had a friend that let's just say that he created Gavita lights. He's like, I don't know if anybody out there knows Gavita, but they were double-ended lights. They used to only have 1,000-watt light bulbs. And then this guy made a double-ended side, and double-ended basically made 2,000 watts. So I mean, I had, and let's just say this: when my Gavitas were running in my old house, when I had like the 3,000 square foot of just grow in the basement, you had to wear fucking shoes and socks upstairs because the wood floors would burn your feet.
Oh, then that's excessive.
My plants lived way better than I did, and obviously now, like I have the light I have in there. I actually got told by the people, like, let's just say it wasn't my friend that told me this, but it was his company. They were like, look, you can't use that light the way that you want to use it, and because it's huge, man. This fucking thing is like, it folds open like bat wings fold open. And if y'all know, it's a Dutch innovation, so DLI, and like obviously Jair Gavita is a good friend, and so I follow anybody that's been in the world long enough to obviously they have credit, and like they used to call this guy Jair Gavita, so like for years I thought that was his last name. So, but at the same difference, like I start nowadays, like my grow stuff to get into making my own genetics. Like I said, I had somebody that said, hey, I want to name one after you, and I said, well, hey, can we just make one? And then it turned into, he taught me how to pollinate. And obviously I still don't know everything yet. I'm about to repollinate I have a purple velvet in there that nobody's ever seen yet. I have I have a 2 sour sprees #1, and I have a sour sprees #3, which #3 nobody's seen either as well. And then, I mean, I have we just did a Wilson Zero that is an Ani Seeds. So Ani Seeds is like, used to sell the best seeds in the world. Now he keeps all his genetics and he doesn't sell them anymore, has his own company. Oh. So he's amazing, obviously. He's a great guy. I love him. So I have Wilson Zero. It's like banana OG and papaya OG crossed together. So I just crossed that. We crossed that with the, and who I keep saying we is Loudcraft Genetics, Bobby. Bobby from Loudcraft Genetics. He's been a best friend of mine for like 10 years now, but like obviously like I never realized you could just tell your friend like, hey, do you want to just like start fucking around with some genetics? And but the same difference, like nowadays we did. So you'll see it soon, but it's gonna be called, I'll let you guys know, the name of that one's gonna be called Sour Breeze, or Sour Banana Breeze, like a breeze. Yeah, and
that reminds me of Sprees.
Well, yeah, and Sprees, okay, I did Sprees, all right? I know that everybody, if they don't know, just Spree was a candy. They never did Sour Spree. They just did Chewy Spree. They did Spree. So I looked up, and I looked up online, and I found that Sprees with a Z is like, there's like fucking so many companies out there. It's impossible. Like I cannot get hit for that. So I looked after, like, I wanted it to be a candy, but I didn't want to name it Gushers. And I got to tell you, when you're trying to come up with a name, it's really hard because every time you look it up, there's somebody that made that strain already.
Oh, for sure. Now it's like, there's a guy that I know in Canada that names strains after his family members.
I love that.
Yeah, it is. But then you think about it,
Bobby,
and it's like
Jimmy,
it's like,
Mom,
your daughter tastes good, bro, or
that shit right there would end up in so much discourse. But yeah, I feel you on that. And I mean, that's like, okay, my stuff, I could have named my stuff. Like I had friends that are like, you could have named it Doc Hollywood or Cannabis TV or, sure. And I'm just like, dude, those are the names of my brand. That's who I am. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to like, I'm going to be that douchebag that fucking, I'm sitting around the fucking smoke session. Somebody's like, man, who the fuck would name this Doc Hollywood? What a douchebag name is that?
Doc Hollywood #1, Doc Hollywood #2, #3.
Yeah, and I mean, I understood. Like, I mean, I've recently like seen a lot of strain names, and like, I get it. Like, I mean,
so many
it's a big thing. But in my terms, I just wanted to make something that, like, obviously my health hasn't been so good over the years. So what it was is I wanted to have, just like my social media stuff, I wanted to leave a legacy. I wanted something to be left behind that even if I'm gone, there's tons of stuff to remind everybody of the things that I've created or helped with. And or like philanthropy things, obviously nothing to do with like I got like this many likes or whatever, but and in a such. So now Glass Artist, if you go on Facebook, you can see that Glass Artist posts stuff. So, I mean, in grow terms, like I have to say, like Cannabis TV was a big thing even to this day where you can go in there. Now we have very strict, and our advertising policies are out there. But our other
I
points of it
still
is,
think that wasn't that screenshot wasn't from inside your. I thought about it later and I thought, you know what? I bet you one of my haters screenshotted, because I don't do that inside of groups. I bet you they screenshotted my live, some like on my profile, and then sent it to one of you. I bet that's what happened.
well, here's
Anyway,
what it is.
regardless.
People don't realize this, but I have 8 people on my staff that are people that, out of their goodness and kindness, obviously over the years, I've gifted them so much stuff. Like, I mean, Magical Butter
Sure, they
gave me
got a
like,
lot of
I
work
think
to
I
do
got
there.
like, Garen gave me 60 machines every 3 months. And the whole purpose was just to give them away.
Wow,
So, I mean, I gave them all
that'd be awesome.
anything they wanted. I gave it to them. Let's just say my 7 staff, and that's what happened. So in my terms of it, I can understand, this and that, things that happen and stuff. And like, we even have people that are in there that, I hate to say it, that they want to advertise stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we don't charge a lot for advertising stuff, but it's mainly because the group will get shut down because
Right.
people will assume that, like, oh, it's a private group and like we can't get in trouble. But I mean, I've had my group, just like you've had your social media taken. They've actually deleted Cannabis TV 4 times. And I'm
Right.
talking fucking permanently, fucking woke up out of a dead sleep and my shit is gone. And I got to tell you, and I'll tell you the main reason how I got it back. I know Facebook's fucking phone number, and I still got it to this day, and I can still fucking call them. And if you actually get the blue check, guess what? You can call them too.
Right. Well, that makes sense. I mean, I've seen,
But
like, especially if you have lawyers, you can make them call them for sure.
well, so here's the thing. Okay, back in the day, I didn't have a blue check. So what it is they had, in my group, they gave me something called group support. And group support is something to where I could message them in my inbox, like in my normal support inbox, like you go to your support inbox and you can see all your fuck ups and shit. Well, I'd go in there and I could see these tickets, and they would have to respond to me within 24 hours. So if I could show people Cannabis TV on my side, I have all the tools, every fucking tool that Facebook has that screws us and hits us. And you're talking like, oh, they can't just be watching me. Guess what? They are. And there's only 10 people on the community standards team, and it's the same 10 people. So, and I have to tell you, like, the tools I have are like this. I can actually put in my tools to where I can put a letter. I can literally put in there PM, or I can put in DM, or I can put in www. And the second any of that pops up, it'll actually kick it into a different folder, and then they have to be approved before they can ever post. So I get to actually go in there and I can see when people, like, I know what people are doing. I know when people are posting links and, they're tagging their blogs or their TikToks or this and that. And there's no disrespect. I just think that, like, in Cannabis TV, we built it as like you go live in Cannabis TV as you. Like when you were earlier, you're wearing your army shirt, it was just you. It wasn't like wasn't the show you. And trust me, I find that you're yourself. I enjoy that about you, but at the same time, we have our show sense. We turn into maybe put our cannabis hat on or something, or something that we don't normally do that we do to get into our mood. But I just see it as like it used to be a big place where you could just go in and ask anything. Hey man, my plant is doing this. Hey man, the leaf is doing this. Like, how do I, what nutrients do you use? Like, and I got to tell you,
Helpful, right? Yeah.
I'm very open about everything I use. Like, if anybody asks me, I'll tell you 100% how I grow, what I grow with, when I feed, what I do. To me, it's all a recipe. It's like an algorithm.
Right.
Like with people understand, like, the stuff I do online. An algorithm is just a recipe. A, B, C, D makes a cake. A, B, C, D. When I posted, how I posted, what colors I posted. Did I use any context? Was it a picture? Was it a video? Was it a reel? They're all A, B, C, D recipes. And obviously people are fighting an algorithm, they think, but no, you're creating your own. So if you create your own algorithm, you can beat theirs.
Yes, and I agree if you know what you're doing, and I play into it enough that I know how to use it as a tool, but I know the points of contention that I'm choosing to still step over the line for, because I foresee competition out there that's not here. But anyway, my point is, as far as your grow though, you said you help a lot of people. Like let's get back to that. Do you use soil or have you ever used aquaponics? That's what I
I've,
want to hear.
I've never used any of that stuff. So like so far, like all right, my older grows like before my wreck, like all my years of doing like the big house grows. I used to have like the biggest house grows, and I had people living in them and all that shit allegedly. But at the same time, like I was always it was always using soil. So like I was always using to this day, like I still use Fox Farm. I used to use like Ocean stuff, and I mixed Ocean with Fox Farm. But like back in the
Mhm.
day, I would just like go to a farmer's, a farm, and then get some compost. And then like I would get some perlite from a grow store. And obviously like I would get an extra bag of soil from the grow store as well. But back then I had to get a friend to do it for me. But I
Mm,
was all Soil Pro, perlite kit. And even right now, all my stuff in there is perlite and just Happy Frog. And simple, easy stuff to do. And I mean, I think I'm gonna move into doing cocoa soon, just to
I
I
do
guess
some cocoa.
broaden my
Yeah,
I guess my education.
sure. And yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having your favorite. I think.
What's your favorite?
Well, my favorite method of growing, the one that I'm working on learning the most, is aquaponics.
That sounds cool.
It's difficult though. I bought a new product to try to help lower the pH. The pH is up around 8,
Now
and
here's the thing.
just
Now are
can't get
you
it to.
dechlorinating? Now you said you're using RO water, right?
Yes.
Okay, now that's out of my wheelhouse and as such. For like I use that stuff for when I'm doing like my washes and stuff. Like when I wash like water hash or something, I'm using like
Right.
RO water, RO ice, something like that. But like
Yes.
when it comes to like water, if people at home want to know like a simple way, I found this works. So what you do is you get like I get a gallon. I have a little gallon container, and I have another 5 gallon bucket in my room. I'll go in there and I'll put each gallon of water in there, and then I wait 24 hours for my water to dechlorinate just by sitting out.
Right.
It's
Right.
usually I have it
Mhm.
sitting right next to my lights, so they're on when the lights are on. It's evaporating and doing stuff to the water.
Sure.
So at that point, the next day, all I do is I use pH up, pH down. Pretty much I just use pH down because it's usually sitting around 8. I'll pH down around to like 5.8 to 6.5. And then from there it's like I add all my nutrients, and I'm using the New Millennial Pet Pack. So the New Millennial Pet Pack comes with psyllium, and that's from Playground, and they also do the Green Sensation. So
I've
I
not
have
heard any of
like,
these names. I'm like
yeah,
trying
let's
to
just
keep up
say
here.
they're yeah. If you look up New Millennial Pet Pack, PEP pack, you'll see everything I'm using, like Winter Frost and Ruby Fulvic, and like I mean fucking like I got Equinox, I got fucking Liquid Start. I mean, and all this stuff is actually like I can send you anybody that wants it. I basically have this thing from New Millennial and from Five. It's PHIVE 5.8. They did a special secret sauce, so you can get this little secret sauce thing from them, and it hooks up with that pet pack to where it tells you exactly what to use every time you're going to water. So you're pre-week 1, pre-week 2, before you actually hit veg from your seedling stage and things like those. And in my terms, I saw a friend of mine using this, and it was recently, and I was using advanced, I think I was using the pH Perfect advanced nutrient stuff before that. Because I found out if you're doing autos, all you need is the pH balance from advanced nutrients, the Bloom. You just need Bloom A and Bloom B, and you can run that shit in CalMag your entire fucking autoflower, and that's literally all you fucking need because it's always in bloom.
Yeah, autos are interesting. I have done one, and I want to do more. Right now, I'm actually waiting. I have 4 plants that I that I have that I was put into a grow off. Shout out to Josh Schaefer. Bought me a spot in a grow off. I'd never been in a grow off,
Respect.
and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Well, I didn't turn them fast enough, and so I got disqualified. But now I still have these 4 beautiful 180-degree back kick plants from Tarantula Genetics.
I would
And
cross the shit out of those. And I only tell you this because if you go on strainly.us, you can fucking buy pollen. So you can just buy fucking pollen, and you just get a little brush and just week 3, just dust those little hairs, man, and fucking mark that branch. You're good to go.
hmm, Have you seen like grafting where there's a story of, I don't know if it's how true it is, but where like a mother plant where they grafted set like a whole bunch of other plants onto it, and so then they tagged each branch, and so what they ended up with was all these branches they could clone off of all sorts of different strains. I don't
I
know how
dig it,
true
and
that
I'm
is.
gonna put this to you. I don't put anything past like on education wise, because I remember like years back, I remember somebody said, "Hey man, like fucking, I'm making this thing called live resin. Like it's like got diamonds in it, and it's pure THC." And I was like, "You're full of shit." And then all of a sudden,
So
he
many
dabbed
different
me out, and I
variations.
was like, what the fuck? So I know, like,
Mm.
I'll have to look into it because it does sound interesting. Because like recently, I was on a podcast with somebody, and they told me something about where they take a pole, like a metal pole, and then they wrap copper around the top, like all over the
Yeah,
top, and then they shove it into the pots, and then it fucking makes them grow bigger.
yeah, there's something about the magnetics. We actually looked at that on this show on Wednesday a few weeks ago, and I don't remember. Like, we basically found out that people are saying that it does work, but
I
there's
saw
nothing.
somebody. I
There's
can
no
show you a
science.
guy that he actually has plants side by side, man, and it's fucking mind bending to see him.
There's something about it. They say it's something about the magnetosphere in the
Well,
area.
if you think about it, I mean, like the pHs and all the different stuff that's in soils and like the
Mhm.
stuff that's in the plants. And I mean, I've legit had a plant where I had the whole top just like, and I've understood. I top my plants now like it fucking like when they barely even have two leaves on it or like one leaf. I'm just chopping that fucker. But back in the day, I mean, I had a plant where it completely broke. Like I'm talking like you could see like the inner like hole of where the water and shit comes up.
Oh wow.
You could see that, and I basically taped her up and put a little chopstick on her, and
Hmm.
she was able to grow through it. So I just know, like, I mean,
They're
I've
resilient.
subjected
Yeah.
plants to crazy fucking high stress training, and they do not seed out, and they also you should see some of the shit I get in there. It's crazy. Like I have a buddy of mine that his name's Sabotage. Sabotage grower on Instagram, and he makes these little hooks that like you clip onto your pot, and then you clip on, you have like a little hook that hooks onto your branch, and then you can like tighten it so that it'll tighten your branches down so that they'll all be, wide open. And like the plants that he does are gone, so man.
What do you think, the advantage of having multiple plants versus like one giant plant? Obviously, indoors you couldn't go height wise, but you could indoors theoretically just bush out a plant, like, fill a room up rather than multiple. So I
Well,
don't
it
know.
depends on what kind of grower you are. Are you like a SOG grower, which is a sea of green? Do you do like a basis to where you keep them all canopied? And what that is, anybody out there is they grow their plants and they keep them all at the same height, so that basically they get a shit ton of flowers the whole way across, and they just have a sea of green. So
Colas,
obviously
right?
every harvest is big. In my terms nowadays, like I hate to say it, but like I think that anybody growing more than 2,000 plants is too big. That's a out in the, I don't care how big your fucking audience is, how big your sales are. If you want to bring the actual sale of price of weed to go back up to like 450 an ounce kind of shit, which there's weed out there that I'd pay good money for, obviously
Right.
good shit. So I know like in the terms of it, small batch, like me, I grow like one of every strain that I grow. Like I'm lucky that I have two clones in there because a friend of mine he couldn't take the clone because he's out of town. So I end up having two clones of that. But usually
Right.
I'll run like, 10 to 50 seeds. And then like I'll pick out of all 50 seeds one plant. Like
Oh
one. I
wow.
got people that are like, bro, you're throwing away shit. But like I'll give most of that away. So like it goes to places that it's not going to just die, and even if it does die, it's going to make something even better. So I just know
Sure.
like, and also I mean to play with your plants, I mean like I was saying, like the fact that when I used to top, okay, I used to be afraid to top, right? I have it in my
Mhm.
notes. I have
Me
a
too.
note section. Yeah, I have a thing that's like how to grow in my notes, and there's even a section that says do not top in capital letters until you've hit your fifth grow, because I was just dead petrified of
Hmm.
it. I didn't understand it. And let's just say that I cut one of my babies. I mean, I cut her off like the first sprout, you got your two little leaves that come out, your little, like obviously like the pods on
Sure.
the side, and then you have your first two real leaves. Why
Right.
wait till those first 2 leaves get another leaf coming out and then I chop it off? And I mean,
Wow.
I'm talking like babies that are like, I mean, and obviously the reason I do that, and we were talking the sea of green stuff, I grow in smaller amounts because, like, in my terms, like, I'm actually doing experimentation. So I'm more experimenting with these
Separated
different
out. Yeah.
varietals and things like that to find. And if you grow them by one plant, I mean, and you find the best out of 50, you're going to find that, like, man, you just, it'll blow your mind on education. Because to me, like, all right, like, yeah, I mean, having like one big plant, I can show you guys pictures sometime of, we took a kiddie pool. It was a fucking 200-gallon kiddie pool from fucking Walmart, and we filled it with dirt, and we fucking grew a fucking massive tree. And I remember there's like a bud that's like laying on my face, like huge cola and shit. And it's not the prettiest shit, but imagine this: you get 22,000 grams to go process, and that's back in the like the blasting out of tubes days.
I used to do that myself. I got pretty good at it, if I do say so myself, but I don't want to go back. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, let's just say it like this, man. I feel like we all had our a really fun run when all of us were our own dispensaries. We were our own extractors, and I mean, like, if people don't know, dabs have been around. Like, I actually recently spoke to somebody that had been making dabs before I even knew they existed. So in like 1990s,
Yeah, I've
dabs
heard
were
of
being
that.
made.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I always feel like people are full of shit, but I'm sure there were processes. And I guess the old timers would take like 2 hot knives,
Yeah.
like butter knives, and they would, the hash and stuff, and they would. I've also seen old timers taking a glass dabbers and having them setting in a little round table with a torch that's attached there, so where they're all sitting in the torch, and they would take these hot dabbers and they would light their weed with that. It wasn't lighting it; it was like vaporizing it almost.
They still use it
Uh,
to this day. I mean, honestly, if you like look back to like that stuff, I mean, I look after like the tools like that and like dabbing. Okay, like dabbing was actually called back in the 90s. Like, this was actual the Godfather. Like, if you guys watch WWE, like the Godfather, right? Like, I'm actually like I got stuck at an airport with the Godfather, and we're smoking weed together. So he's telling me about what they called honey. I think they called it like honey wax is what they're calling it, but it was filled with fucking butane. I'm talking would fucking spark on your nail and shit. But dude, this was back in the day. And I gotta tell you, I smoked Reggie back in the
oh
day,
man,
and it
right?
wasn't fucking pretty, but I
Yeah.
smoked it, and it was good. And I gotta tell you, even so, when people talk about mids, we were talking about this the other day, that fucking mids were actually a good thing. They were a good thing back in the fucking day.
We called it. We said some country. You got some country.
Well,
I don't
country
know what
was
that
like, all
was.
right. So for me, with country was Reggie. Like Dro, there was Hetty's. Hetty's was fucking Dro with seeds. That's what Hetty's was. Fucking a, man. I tell you, like, just to think about, even like to think about that an ounce was called a zone. Like, you're like, hey man, I get
What's
that
this?
zone.
Yeah, yeah, or an onion. Yeah, all kinds of names for it. Yeah, you got real good at talking all funny, but really, like, you weren't fooling anybody.
Well, no, and like that's the thing. Like, okay, I saw during the days where everybody was like plugging, you had all these like middleman parties and of all these dudes selling all that CBD and all that shit, and people would type like CEEBEEDEE, and I'm going, you don't think that they don't have, like, because I just told you guys they have a setup to where they can type in CBD, and it doesn't matter if it's fucking spelled differently. You're gonna get lit up. And like me, I'm sure
Weird.
I'm on, like, when I talked to Facebook, they told me that me and Joe and a few of our other friends are on their desk. And it's not like anything to talk fame. We just got in trouble a lot. And obviously I'm sitting there going like, how the fuck are you guys always hitting us for this? And that's when they started saying, well, here, we'll give you some of our tools. And that's obviously I got my group back after deletion, and I just kept telling them. I told
So you got
Facebook
lucky. You
personally.
found a nice person there. Then shit.
Well, dude, I told Facebook directly. I was like, look, man, when you guys take my pages away and when you guys hit me for content and you guys don't teach me what I did wrong, and
That's
then
what
I
I'm
do it
saying.
again and then I fucking get smacked, this is fucking abuse. And they told me, they're like, you know what? You're fucking right. And they gave me all these tools and,
Well,
so.
like, that's crazy though, because that was my whole point too, and I'm wanting to let you talk more than anything, but the issue was for me, it's like, don't give me something which maybe I don't understand. and then not tell me why, like what it was I did, why I'm getting these.
Tell me
Like,
how to
so
fix that. Tell me how to fix
exactly.
it. Tell me how to do better.
That's what I feel like is the joke on their end, but maybe they just don't have the staff anymore. But my point is, there are other sites where I don't get that sort of arbitrary. Like for instance, well, we don't get into it, but I do one that's open source, and open, if you know what open source means, like there's no arbitrary standards that they can just throw at you because it's all visible. I mean, I'm not a coder, but since it's visible, they can't. There's always someone
I
watching.
love
So
coding, man. Coding is the same in every country. It's the same language. I
that's
really
that
enjoy, like,
is
before my rec, like I actually on this computer right here, I used to take when Grand Theft Auto, okay, GTA 5, like they actually made it allowable like a couple years back, to where if you're in player one mode, you can hack as much of the game as you want. You can fucking, like, I have like Brian's fucking like orange fucking car from Fast and Furious in there. I mean, like, you see it, like, and
there's some
basically
insane
now,
hacks. Yeah.
well, just know now we even have our own online community. So like now you can fucking like load up this program, and you'll
Specific
get,
one, yeah.
but you'll all be in with hackers. So I mean, it's not as
That's
fun
rough.
unless you're good, and I'm
Minecraft is
not
that
good.
like that. Yeah. I saw my buddy had a gun that shot like cars and trucks. Like he's
Yes.
shooting it. It's just like cars and trucks. Anyway, that's way up. But back to the language comment. The language of the plants is something that I've been learning. I'm one of these people that's like, I don't want to read up about it because I'm sure if I looked up how to grow lettuce, I would find 1,000 pages. And it's like my mind would go nuts. So I just try it out and I just see what happens. And
Was
then
that how
I
you
find
started
out what.
growing? Was just like trying stuff out?
Oh, I started with aquaponics in a 10-gallon system and
Dope.
lettuce, just some black seeded Simpsons to be exact,
I
lettuce.
love that.
And it's just leaf lettuce that you can grab and eat. And I was so proud that it was growing all big and green. I was like, look at this. I was taking pictures. That was when I was doing the videos.
Love that.
And at the
Proud
time, I
father.
was just
Proud father.
recording. Yeah, I was proud, but I didn't know when to eat the stuff. I didn't know that I should be eating it. I just kept getting big, and I didn't think about it. Anyway, long story, but I just kept trying different
Good
leafy
story.
greens, and a pastor actually gave me 2 cannabis beans,
And a
and I was
pastor,
growing them.
thank you. The only time religion makes fucking sense.
Bro, I could go on and on. I don't want to bore my fam. They've heard it, but the Lord gave me this calling I've been given, man. Like it's all been like a blueprint or sort of a plan that's been put into my head, and it's not. I don't really feel that it's me. It's more like I'm the one like sort of driving the ship, and the ship is I am here to popularize self-sustainability, but not only that, but to talk to people like you and others who have the knowledge. And to what I do is I'm missing the words. I'm getting them to inspiring them to get out there and put that knowledge out. So not like you already do this, but there's a lot of growers that don't necessarily do podcasts or put pictures out or talk about it that often or whatever it is. They do their own thing and that's their thing. But now I feel like I have inspired a lot of people that have the knowledge to get knowledge out and to share it and to network and to make it cool and to make like farmers should be our next rock stars. It should be like, oh, how much. And this is the catch though. This is the catch. The whole thing about haters and online. I knew this going into it. I wasn't into social media at the time because I know how degrading it can be. I know how like evil it really, can be. Like the whole algorithm
It's
can
a
really be
scary thing to go live for sure. Your first couple
right.
times.
Well, not just go live, but I wasn't somebody who wanted to post really anything about myself. But this is the thing. I realized I had to jump in head first to try to help change the culture and thinking this stuff is important, right? We work off of incentive. But so I decided to do that and jump in and go ahead and go live and make a show about it, knowing that people would want to compete with me. And that's what I want. I'm like, go ahead, guys, make more shows, more podcasts about gardening, more podcasts about growing cannabis. If that's all
Please
you want to
make it
grow,
better than my show,
do
please. Like,
more. You want to compete with me on growing food for needy people? All right, bro. Let's start the line here, and see how many people you feed, and I'll compete with you on this side. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've always said this: no matter how many people start growing their own food or start growing food for a living, we will always still need more people to grow more food.
Well, I
Like
heard
it's
this the other
just,
day, and like I have to say it on like to everybody is like, if you ate something today, if you smoked something today, thank a farmer.
I mean, yeah, that sentiment needs to be pretty strong. Like we have areas in our society like the 4-H club, we have farmers sort of communities, but it's not. There's a disconnect between that and sort of the, I don't know how you would put it, the hip culture, the cannabis, music, events, all these things are combined in this sort of culture of like fun and entertainment, I guess, right? And that doesn't
Entertainment,
necessarily
key word.
connect.
I like that one.
It doesn't connect enough. Yeah, entertainment. We need to that, like my show is a late night show. It's supposed to be like late night meets farming, sustainability meets like a Joe Rogan-esque sort of podcast style show, open
Oh, trust
forum,
me, we
long
need more
form.
of them, man. Like if you don't follow, like, or if you don't like, I'm pretty sure you do, but like look up First Grow of the Day. They're on Instagram, and like just check out the way they do their style, man. Like they got like 108,000 followers, and like they never do whole shows. Like they do their shows like you do somewhere else, and then obviously they'll put like little snippets and stuff on the actual
Yeah,
like their
clipping it.
Instagrams. But
Yeah, getting the clips. I haven't gotten into getting that yet. I'm too
well,
ADD.
no, you're doing a great job, man. I feel like what it is like I feel like we can all talk about like what we wish we were doing, but I think at the end of the day, like when we start to realize, and you understand, like just build what you can, do what you can. You're doing a great job. I mean, when I met you, like let's just say that I lived in Peoria. I lived in Peoria for like 15 years, and I don't think
Oh
anybody at
wow.
that cup really knew that. Like I lived there for a very long time, so I've known. Let's just say I didn't know everybody at that party, but I knew some of the people there. And I just feel like, at the same time, I've never seen anybody in Peoria or fucking that part of the state or anything fucking supporting cannabis, supporting fucking gardens. I mean, I saw you at an actual show and you were actually there supporting people. Okay. Like, I don't see people do that enough. And I mean, I think like the problem nowadays, and you see it a lot, is people fucking want to film themselves doing all this nice shit. And you doing a podcast is information, it's education, it's entertainment, and fucking it's exactly what everybody wants to see. Like I want to fucking turn on my TV and I got like fucking like 50 channels that are all cannabis and glass fucking blowing and fucking like I don't know, like even Tommy Chong talking about the old days. I don't fucking care. Something to do with this more cannabis mainstream. And to me, podcasts like yours and people like you are very much needed because I used to do a podcast and a show and I can't do it anymore because of my brain injury. So I support mad love for anybody like y'all.
You could always be a reoccurring guest, you know what I'm saying?
Well, those kind of things where I do that. I've done that and that's cool. But like, I feel like my problem is like, I'll make a show and I have tons of them. I'll show you my brand sometimes. Like people think I only have a few pages. I have like 38 monetized pages.
You're a thinker, bro, just like I am. I can see it, man. I can see it.
Well, I had the show called Let's Smoke About It, right? And it was a dope show. And like, I even had one called The Soul Sesh. And I was on 94 FM in Colorado, like on the radio doing the review with Hollywood. And I was asking people what they were fucking smoking in traffic and shit, So like,
wow.
So I think that like, to me, like when I used to do my show, what it was is I was homeless and I lived in my car and I wanted to be part of the show. I wanted to be just part of cannabis. I wanted to be, in it because I already grew and I've already been in the black market days and I know people and, like I guess my integrity record, like I got to tell you, there's an integrity record in the cannabis world that people don't know about. But nowadays, yeah, I'm sure you people have that. But like from the old days, if you never like screwed anybody over, you pretty much are on this track record of as a legacy kid. They call us like, which I enjoy that term. But at the same time, it's like it's nice to see, things obviously they're different. So I'm waking up seeing podcasts now done in a new style and y'all are getting traction and you're able to talk about things that obviously like Cannabis TV. I used to be able to I used to go live there all the time and just like teach people how to grow. I taught people how to make RSO. I actually got banned from Facebook for like 6 months because I taught somebody how to make dabs. So.
Wow.
I don't do that anymore, but obviously, like I mean, even in over time, I had a friend of mine that was in Australia that He told me that he had a kid with cancer, and his kid was really sick, and he needed to make dabs somehow. And like I taught him, and now he has his own business extraction lab in Australia, one of the first. And I taught him over the phone. So I
I
think
thought
it's
it was
kind of funny
illegal
how
over
the world
there. Huh.
goes.
That's interesting, man. Like I thought it was illegal in Australia.
It
Must be like
was.
very
It still
specific.
kind of is. And it's just like how we are. I don't look at illegalities. I look after like how many years was cannabis illegal for us? For
Right.
me, 26 years. I started when I was 16. I'm 41 now. So obviously, like when I was 16 through 35, maybe, I think is when it maybe went legal. 33 went legal. I mean, within a year I was here. I think 2014 it went rec in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like, if you look after that 2014, I mean, that's like what, almost 10 years. Next year will be 10 years. 10, and obviously, so
Yeah.
Australia, when I hear illegalities and I heard sick kid, need to make medicine. It's not like he was trying to make stuff to go sell. And even if
Sure.
he did whatever across the time, he didn't have butane. That's another thing. So I had to find out what
Huh.
he could legally buy in Australia for a solvent. So I had to teach him, instead of using butane, to use, it was D-limonene. So you could buy, back in the
Huh.
day, you could buy D-limonene in fucking gallons and great big fucking things for like $16 for a barrel for $16.
I don't even know
Now
what
it's like,
that
if you look
is.
it up, it's like fucking like $10,000.
Is it a food grade
Food grade.
solvent?
It's also it's food grade, and also it's the same stuff that you could clean your floor with. Okay, so I found out it's
Okay.
a non-polar solvent. So basically, you can use terpenes in a sense. If you use enough of them, you can see with distillate and the way they do stuff like that. You
Sure.
are able to like see that oil does get less viscous. It gets like thinner. And that's
Mhm.
because it's an instant, like it's just that non-polar solvent. So like people talk about solventless, they're not using solventless. They're using water. Water is a solvent. So, it's kind of
Right.
like in terms of things, like if they want to get into solvents, they probably should have said no gases,
Right.
I mean, at those terms.
That's what they're worried about. That's the main issue. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, honestly, if you look after, like when I made this stuff, I'll have to tell you, like, because I didn't have like distillers back then, they didn't exist and shit. So, like, I was making this in my kitchen. My house
Mm.
smelled like oranges for a year. And I mean, all I made was like an ounce.
I was yeah, I definitely used it and I don't think it was the smartest way to do it, but we won't go there.
Well,
I
no,
had an
butane's
apartment with a
fine. Butane was fine until these idiots, like one of my friends, I won't say his name, but let's just say that CNBC came to Colorado to see all the dabs and the cool shit we were doing. My
Mhm.
douchebag friend lights up a cigarette right as he's open blasting.
Wow,
He
while
didn't
they're
blow up
while
his
they're
house or
checking it
anything,
out.
but he's on fucking cable
Um
TV.
we need to get this spin done real quick. I don't want to
Yeah.
keep everybody. We got 54 people on the 55 on the Facebook side, 12 over there on the Rumble, guys. If you want to get in on this, we have a spammer over on the Rumble. Hang on 1 second. In fact, here I'm going to share the Rumble, which is cool. You might like this.
I like videos.
Watch this. So you have this, right? That's a chat from the Rumble, which is like YouTube. I don't know if you know about Rumble, but all I have to do is this, and then we're still the same size, and bam, we've got the chat while people are chatting. I need to scroll up and take this person out real quick.
No, you're
Forever.
good. I get spammers. Like I find, unless they're being like, obviously that's something I'd remove. In my terms, I find
I didn't
like
even
I
read it.
let people argue sometimes, because unless they're being toxic, it's technically engagement anyways until they're being complete. Like
That
I'll
was
kill you
my
or
fault.
I'll do this.
I should have taken that off before I put it on the screen. I didn't even read it, to be honest. So
I
my bad.
didn't, but let's just say that it was something about like nothing but mad respect and
Politics or
love
something.
to Israel, and all the war that's going on and shit. I guess just say
Some
that.
bullshit about that. Okay. Well, yeah, mad respect to everybody that is trying to survive right now. So hopefully that gets resolved. Actually, a lot of times on Wednesdays, I do try to bring up something, some sort of a global or at least across the country news, but it's usually I try to stick to like farming and growing. And a lot of times that does overlap with politics, like we saw Bill about I also there's a couple stories I'll hit on, but we're gonna do the spin. Fruit fly quarantine expanded from with further detection over in California. So there's some a good site that I pulled up here we can check out later. But guys, if you're in California, really anywhere, the fruit flies, I guess, are really bad right now. So be careful out there. Let me present the spin, and we're going to do the Grow Fam heirloom beans spin here. Give me a second. Where is it? Got too many tabs open in my brain and on my computer.
Trust me, I'm using a monitor as a light right now. That's how sad. I don't have any lights. This works.
You got 4 walls around you, right?
All I gotta do is I find think about like a page that's white, so I just go to my Leafly for my strain, and fucking it's this bright white fucking thing, and it just makes everything bright in my fucking office.
If you go to StreamYard on your computer, you'll then see all the comments as well, and it's bright white.
Well, the problem is like my Facebook somehow logged me out, and I have like 13 different ways that I have to get into my Facebook.
Oh yeah, to find that link.
I own all of what I own. They don't just like give me like most people get a 2-part factor. I got like a 13 factor.
Just to log in. That makes sense.
It's crazy.
Hey, what's up, Sean? Over on the YouTube. Look at that. They've got over 3,000 followers on YouTube, and this is the first YouTuber we found tonight. So YouTube definitely de-ranks any cannabis use, and I get it, but
just know this, man. I'll have to send you a fucking if you have TikTok right now.
I don't like TikTok.
I was gonna say, look up Timmy the Trichome. If you look up Timmy the Trichome, that's me, and I literally fucking found out how to post cannabis on fucking TikTok, and I have an account that's all trichomes. And it's all my fucking plants, and it's all my photos and shit, and fucking I got like 100,000 views on all my fucking shit.
Huh.
And it's all because I found out if you do cannabis at a micro level, like under macroification, and obviously I do stack shots at such a macro level that there's nothing they can really say. Because like I even find that Facebook and Instagram allows all my content until I get to the dry and the cure. If I post a picture of the actual nug that you can smoke, it makes it illegal content. But if I post it as a plant, science and education. I think that's
because they changed it. Did they? I don't know if that was federally, but I think they made it technically a hemp plant until it has bud or something. I forget. Maybe that was in Illinois.
Dude, there's a new one right now. If anybody doesn't know that, fucking like it is legal, 100%, 50 state, federally legal to sell seeds and clones. Online, you can make a website right fucking now and start selling clones and seeds. It's 100% fucking legal. They literally just made this fucking new law and to state the fact that it's under 0% THC or some shit. And if you stay underneath, even in like the medical world, if you have an actual badge, like, in Colorado, like medical, like that shit, you go in there. If a plant is under 8 inches, it's not even a plant. It doesn't exist.
That's very interesting. Some people are pretty excited, it looks like.
Yeah,
I thought the seeds were already legal, but maybe it wasn't legal across state lines.
Well, let's just say this: it's legal across the pond. Like I could fucking bring seeds. Wow. Like I'm not going to test it just yet, but I bet you I could bring seeds in my luggage now. And if it's not, but different countries, I'll tell you, is a different story. But in the world of things, the fact that you can actually, like, if you look up, like, the fact that you can go on like Strainly.us, they made their site public recently. That shit's been a fucking black market site for like years. But you can go on there right now and buy clones, pollen, fucking seeds, whatever. And in my opinion, it's perfectly legal. So if it's perfectly legal at that point and it's across the board understood, you could actually start selling your shit right now. And that could be your new business. You could just buy up other people's genetics and then make sure that you're selling them as their genetics. Because I know that there's people out there that they'll take somebody else's genetics, dump them out, grow them, and then dump crappy seeds in there and try to sell those as like, oh yeah, this is that.
Oh wow, yeah. There's a lot of that, but there's that within all industries too. I always remind myself.
Well, trust me, this is my fucking. This is the box right here. Everything that's in here is unseen. Like this is all stuff that has like obviously these guys don't even have this stuff on the market yet. It's just like stuff that, like this one here that I got is the one I got growing is Purple Velvet. It's cookie cake crossed with purple sauce. And I mean, I got like 4 or 5 of those ones that are just like, these are just ones they haven't even released to the public. So in my terms, like nowadays, like I don't take seeds from it. Like I used to take seeds from everybody. I feel like now it's like a wine connoisseur. Like I don't want to have a ton of seeds that I'm not going to grow. You know, I want stuff that I'm growing.
Yeah, I have a whole bucket full, but I also do giveaways and stuff like that. So it does help. I'll throw those out a lot of times to people, and it makes sense. But
well, trust me, man, I'm about to have my genetics like up, and I'll make sure I send you a free pack of my sour sprees, and then like the sour breeze, and then like the new one I think I'm gonna call like fucking what the fuck was that name? I can't even remember. But yeah, if anything, I'll make sure
like
that
it anyway.
A couple testers.
I like it anyway. I don't care.
Well, just know, like, if you look up Copycat Genetics, okay, the guy that I'm crossed with on this genetic with Riggy Skunk and Loudcraft, like, his strains cost $7,500 for 10 fucking seeds.
One more time.
$7,500 for 10 seeds.
That seems
excessive. The best chronic you've ever seen in your fucking life. If you go on Instagram and look up Copycat Genetics with an X for the X, and he has that. It looks like a cat for his face. You'll see like a cat, like it has that like old school black and white cat face. Like he is the most hated. Like I post this shit on Reddit and I get fucking hate mail for a month, but like I don't give a shit because his stuff. He basically gets people's stuff and he'll buy it from you. Your stuff could cost 10 grand. He'll come to your house and buy it from you for 10 grand. And then he'll take it and then he'll reverse cross it with somebody else's shit. And then he won't tell you what's in it, but it'll be the frostiest shit you've ever seen in your fucking life. I mean, seriously, like I mean, the fact that they reached out to me, like I said, I got on Leafly and then all of a sudden everybody wanted to get attached to my strain. They're like, hey man, like, if you're public, you got to mention us. And I'm like, dude, like we pop 4 seeds. I love you, but like we're barely scratching the surface yet.
It's a little Felix the cat?
Yep, Felix the cat. That's him.
There's
and
like,
if you see the verified one, you should see he's got like diamond encrusted watch. He drives Rolls Royces every fucking day. And it's not fake. I mean, I've met the guy. He's fucking, let's just say, like, he's not my kind of cup of tea as a person. But for making genetics, like he gives me fucking like I have a fucking laundry bag that a friend of mine has a laundry bag full of his stuff. And let's just say that the guy that made his stuff told me he'd send me any of his pollen. He's just like, you've showed so much love, you know, and like obviously like my buddy Bobby is like he's awesome. The king, but he's the guy, you know, so I just feel like, you know, might as well like, you know, accentuate some good weed. But yeah, Copycat, if you look up his stuff, it's like 75.
No idea. Crazy. There's so many. There's so many. It doesn't say verified next to anything.
Well, I'm trying to think. If you just look up one that has the most follows, you'll see like one has like a bunch of people that are growers. Everybody follows them. But Copycat Genetics, just like pick one of those, and then anyone that's the Felix the cat. There's like 3 or 4 of them. I think 5 or 6 maybe they're his.
There's like there's
a lot.
30 Felix the cats on this list right now.
Well, I have to tell you, if you were selling seeds for $7,500 for fucking 10 seeds, wouldn't you think there'd be a lot of copycats?
Yes, copycatting the copycat.
Copycatting the copycat. And obviously, I used to think when people said, like, I had a friend of mine say, like, this is a copycat. So I was thinking, like, okay, he went and grabbed 2 strains that were basically the same genetics as that one, and he made a copycat. No, I found out this was a person, and then, like, I mean, if you look up on my Instagram and you just look at like the videos I have of the nug shots that I have spinning, like every one of those except for like one is mine, but like all of those obviously are copycats in Loudcraft. And they're like the most, I gotta say, anytime I post them on Reddit, I don't have a single person ever troll me. Nobody talks shit. Everybody's just like, holy fuck, how do I get that? So it's good times, man. I'm in one of those moods where, like I said, I like funky flowers, man.
Man, like I haven't been using my phone for this whole time, and so I go over here to use it to get on Instagram, and of course, like every second, there's a new notification from some app popping up, getting my way. But yeah, I have it pulled up. I'll look for it, And,
Oh, you're good to go. Like,
out there.
I'll send you, like, if you want, like, I'll go on his page. I can send you like shots of all, like, his actual website and stuff. But like, if you actually look it up, I think it's like, actually, I have my computer here. I can look it up here. It's Copycat Genetics. Where's the G? I always fuck that up. Genetics.
How can we acquire sour breeze bean or sour sprees, or was it? Is it
Sour
sprees, right?
Sprees. Yeah. Sour Sprees. That one's not, she's not up. Like, I have feminized. We just made feminized seeds for her. We're just about to make regular seeds on the, like, in like probably 5 more days. We're going to be crossing the actual, the dingleberries one is a male. So we're going to be making actual regular seeds from that. And that's mainly so that we can protect ourselves from people that obviously will basically buy your stuff, and then they'll just basically use colloidal silver, or they'll pollinate it, and then they'll have your genetics. It'll be your shit, and they can sell it and don't got to give you a penny. So I find, like, in my terms, like, oh, there we go. Okay, so Copycat Genetics, I just found it. Oh, if I can get, oh, come on, give me the back off. All right, so what it is it's Copycat, GENETIXX.com. And it'll look like, you'll see like a camera. It'll look like a fucking photographer page. But as soon as you scroll down, you'll see G-Licious S1, $3,500. The Wolf of Wall Street, $2,700. Fucking the Queen is actually the one that's is the most. That's his. He named it after his lady. But if you look at his genetics, you'll never see anything like it on the planet.
Oh, that's an actual website. I'm sitting here typing that into Instagram.
No, it's an actual website. This is where, like, obviously, like, we all, like, I know people that know him, so I don't have to go through this. But if you're ever buying seeds online before, like, I would have to, what it is you'd have to send somebody an email, and then, like, you'd pay them through like a pay app, and then, like, you would have to trust and just understand, because that's the seed world. Even to this day, I know most seed stores are like that. You go on and you have to do that. Like, they'll tell you some weird cryptic way to get seeds. It's real. And most of the time, if you see it says hemp seeds, that's another way that they're just trying to be more public. But like, if I click on the Wolf of Wall Street, like, shit, it tells you what it is. It says the Zaza and Rancid Skunk Reversal. It'll tell you the percentages, and then obviously it's just crazy shit, man. Like, I mean, everybody on here, insane genetics. Like,
here, we're gonna look at it. I actually see some really cool pictures right there, but I want to actually really quickly get this spin done. I keep forgetting.
Oh, sorry. I apologize if I got in the way of that.
No, you didn't. That's me. I'm excited for the conversation. It's been awesome. Appreciate you coming on. But we definitely got to get this done for people only 19 people wanted the Grow Fam heirloom beans. So Grow Fam, what they do is they created this brand, Grow Fam Heirloom, Grow Fam Homestead heirloom beans that is from different growers growing specific genetics for Grow Fam. So awesome. Like, they grow their own stuff and do their own thing, but then they sort of collaborate with Grow Fam and grow something specific for their lineup and for their homestead beans. So that's what this is for here, guys. If you're in the comments watching, we've got 75 people watching right now. If you haven't got in on this, it's only 19 people in on it. Just grab the beans, give them to somebody if you don't grow or whatever. They're definitely worthwhile. They do autos, and they do I think they have feminized now or photos. I'm not sure, but you'll definitely get a pack of awesome Grow Fam heirloom beans. Come on, guys, let's get up to 20. Let's get 20. Can I get one more person before we do this spin?
Super cool. Well, just know the question you asked before that. Eventually, I'll make sure that we have some stuff for everybody, at least for like giveaway stuff. I'll make sure that it's just for right now. I'm trying to.
Somebody was asking, everything. Timothy's asking how we can acquire some. So that's what the people are interested. The people
appreciate it soon, and trust me, I will make sure that you are one of the first I get to.
Bro, if you're sending me a pack of that, I probably wouldn't. I would probably have to grow that and definitely show it off and show people all about it. But if I definitely would be interested. Maybe we'll talk about it sometime. But I have game night, and a lot of people have been getting into that on Sundays, where I make my own like digital on-screen game, and I'm not gonna show. I'm not going to pull it all up and slow us down here, but the games have been getting more intricate and more fun. And what I do is I get a bunch of sponsors and they throw in a prize for when somebody like say lands on their square, like a board game or something like that. So those kind of things would be really fun to give out. Anyway, we give out beans a lot of times on that. Thanks, Mr. Burns. Okay, cool. We got 21 now. 21.
21. Lucky number 21.
Yeah, we're already over the 2 hours, so I can't wait too much longer on it, guys. But we're going to do that spin now. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck. Timothy, I'm just guessing. Timothy?
He likes beans.
I don't know. I'm just getting
Terry Bryler. Terry, are you here? Terry doesn't need to be here because Terry is a member of my local subscription community. That's right.
Respect.
Why is it not? Oh, man. It's all the way down here. Here you go, Terry.
Oh, trust me. You got one. You got to get one of those. I'm sure you got one, like those stream decks or whatever.
I don't. But all in due time. I'm a poor disabled veteran. I'm waiting to get my business going, which is going to be primarily microgreens and other said produce. I'm going for like it's not just to be like goody and save the planet, but it's like what's the biggest demographic on the planet? Like everybody's got to eat, like that's sort of a business decision as well. Like not everybody. A lot of people love cannabis, but not everybody, maybe 50-50, or maybe now we're at a 60-40 or more. But, kids and, people that don't use cannabis, like everybody's got to eat. And I think if all shit hits the fan, I'd like to have a big room full of something I can eat. But I have to push back here because touche, you can eat cannabis. It does give you a lot of, nutrients. Just eating it straight up. Have you heard this? Like just eating a bud, not non-active, nothing good, nothing to make you high. But if you just ate it or put it in a juicer or something, it has a lot of vitamins and nutrients in it. That's before it gets
interesting.
processed.
I feel like for me, like what I used to do is like obviously like in the early days, like you couldn't just like when you defanned your plants, you couldn't just like go stick that in the regular trash can and shit. Because like if it got out on the curb and some raccoon poked a hole in it, they could just call the cops on you and you were fucked. I mean, and obviously it didn't matter back then if it tested for THC or not. So like I would take all of my leaves and I would wash them off, and then we would make salads out of all of our stuff. So like I found like purple leaves and like the sativa leaves and like the indica leaves all had different flavors to them and as such to where
that's
and
good.
then obviously like if you used flower ones, oh my, which obviously I don't like to use trichomes with anything because I don't think that eating trichomes is going to do anything positive other than the fact that like if you have it, I guess moreover, I mean a bud, I don't know. I don't know if I could eat a bud.
You'll be surprised, man. I'm gonna look it up for you.
If the cop was behind me, I would eat. I've eaten an eighth of weed. I have done that in my life. It's happened. But like I don't know if I would do it. Like I would rather go like maybe like if they made like a juice bar for cannabis and I could go in there and get like super lemon haze that like they added a little lemon terp in there or something, like I would go there. It'd be like what do they call that place, that juice place? The fucking can't even fucking remember. I'd name my own though. It'd be my own cannabis side.
Cannabis salad.
Make it like be like juice with a G.
The nutritional value of raw cannabis, said from the crx.mag.com, crxmagazine.com. That let's see, it says. Oh man, of course they got a bunch of fluff in front here.
Usually.
Nutritional value of raw cannabis. Outside of the frequently studied hemp seed, raw cannabis leaves and flower could be considered one of the most nutritious, dense foods on the planet.
I'll take it. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I know like it's not a painkiller and as such. I mean, it's an inflammatory, like as in like
anti-inflammatory. Yeah.
I mean, I look after like tattoo creams and like possibilities. Like my dad has like bulges like sometimes in his muscles and stuff, and I'll send it to him, and it works out real wonderful for him. But like I look after, like I went through like 10 out of 10 car accident, fucking like broke my neck and had fucking permanent nerve damage. And I got to tell you, like cannabis, there's nothing that could touch my pain. I even found like opiates couldn't touch my shit. Morphine. I found my own, like I found some pill that they used for something else that like obviously shouldn't have been for what I used it for, but at the same time, it took like a 10 to a 2. But in my terms, I look after cannabis for the nausea. You know, like when I had cancer and went through my wreck and shit, I was always sick and like having testicular cancer. That's why I was talking about my nausea earlier. Is like getting kicked in the balls all the time. Which sorry to be so upfront, but
no, man,
testicular cancer is just painful all the time. So they're sick. So you know, I find that like I think that like it has its stuff, but I just think that when everybody puts it into those categories to say like that it's a cure or and obviously I got mad love that cannabis does help with cancer. It kills cancer,
but you can't go around and say it's a miracle drug. Like it has to be applied in the right ways.
Well, they don't want to put too high of a value on it. I mean, obviously,
too.
like it's medicinal. Let it be medicinal. Like I mean, Tylenol is medicinal, but they don't break it down every week to tell you about how they should change it or something.
Yeah. No, they don't. They never change it. They have no incentive to. And what's funny about cannabis? The thing that I always think about in my head whenever we talk about it like this is that in the 30s and before that, it was in our medicine cabinet. It was there. It was there. It was a
but
common.
It had cocaine in it and shit too.
Did it have cocaine in the cannabis? I never heard that one.
I'm pretty sure, like a buddy of mine. All right, so Jair Gavita made the first museum of cannabis. Like it's in the Netherlands and shit, like in Amsterdam. Okay. And he has all this collection of all like the coolest fucking shit from over the years. And he's got some bottles that just say that there's liquid cannabis, liquid cocaine, liquid nicotine, all kinds of fucked up shit in one bottle.
Holy cow.
Let me see if I can find
it together in one bottle. Like this is the snake oil they're talking about. They're just gonna
and it's such like, all right, that's another thing, like snake oil, like shit, man. Like that was a thing, like, all right, with my cancer. I remember that there's people that are like famous online that like I won't mention his name, but there's somebody that he's well known for hanging out with Rick Simpson and is his best friend. And they make medicine. He's well known all over the world. Well, when I had cancer, I needed help making medicine because I couldn't make it myself, because I usually did. And he told me he would charge me like $30 a gram to process it for me, versus like when I made RSO, I gave it away for free. I would process it myself and I would figure my own ways out, because obviously like mostly RSO is made from trim and stuff. It was not like I'm taking my buds and doing that, because obviously buds had their different values. So I just think that I learned over time that there's some people out there that they want to just be popular in the cannabis world. And then there's people that want to be respected, or they want to be at least respected for what they do, versus, anybody could talk shit about, my haters could say anything, but obviously my haters follow me still. And the reason is I don't block haters. I figure they can watch me win.
Me neither. I don't. But honestly, that also that makes me feel like they're reporting me a lot of times. And the only reason that the reports usually can work is if you're doing something that can be reportable. Now, the only issue, though, is that I've heard stories, man, and I don't want to get too back into that conversation, but I've heard so many stories of people trying to sell vegetables or sell CBD or something that is legal, and they just shit all over it, man. Like it's like an algorithm thing, or maybe it's not. I know there's people that look at us, but they can't see everything. There is a sort of a general algorithm that sort of picks things up, and certain words, certain different things. But there's a lot of haters though that like to report.
Think about it like this, man. Like you got it down already. I've heard you say it a few times in our conversation. All right, like. What stuff is obviously relatable on different platforms that you're able to use that, and you can't, and which ones. Like, so for me, like when I did my soul sesh back in the day, as much as I would have stuff on my screen, but it would be, it's even then I got in trouble for that. They would hit me for that. So I found in the long run, what I'd do is like, there was just trying to learn for myself. But at the same point, I just stopped doing that. What I did, you saw it. I have my cannabis content now on certain platforms, and then I have food content, because I figured like if I'm this good, just like you, if you're that good at like at building audiences and having like these great ideas for shows and education, and you can produce stuff that's great like the show. I look after, why not do that on somewhere else, or do it with something that is nothing to do with cannabis or has a generation towards it, or like me, I'm trying to normalize things. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, mainly about it is just trying to find the right ways. Like, all right, like Reddit pays now, so you can go on Reddit
No,
and talk
I
about
didn't know
cannabis
that.
all you want. But I would find subreddits, and like I would have a section of your show that has nothing to do with your, don't have any of your sponsors on some of your videos, just to share it in certain places.
Sure.
And then obviously, because Reddit's going to see it as, oh, he's trying to advertise. But if you don't do that stuff, obviously, and you're just talking about cannabis, and they're just trying to find a place where you stop and go www.com this, I mean, you're going to be in the safe hood. So what I would do is I create extra content for those actual stuff. So I would have stuff that's my
Sure.
cannabis stuff that I can
Right,
post
right.
on YouTube and
That
wherever I
makes
want.
sense.
And then obviously, to go on like TikTok and talk about vegetables.
That makes a lot of sense, because I've actually I do that with groups, and typically, obviously, on the phone you can't put a lot of the stuff on the screen. Some people know how to do that on Facebook. I don't do it, but like, yeah, the links in the chat are one of those things. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of ways to get in and out of it, and
Sorry, I just
honestly,
thought I would bring that up only
no,
because I
you're
know
right.
you.
I feel like I talk about that kind of stuff a lot, and I always try to bring myself out of it. It's nothing that you did, but it's like I try to bring myself out of those sort of conversations, because the audience a lot of times gets sick of hearing us complain. So I try not to complain, but sometimes it's not me complaining, it's just me. I'm an analytical guy, man. I sit here and
I look after
I will
never
pick it apart
complaints.
all day, And yeah, but no, you're right. There's a lot of, but here's my thing. I do other shows that aren't about cannabis, but I still smoke it on the screen because I'm trying to help normalize it. So I realize I'm pushing a boulder uphill. I know it's going to be a while, but it's close. We're close. So I might actually be right at the tipping point where, it's cool, because look,
Well,
Joe
keep
Rogan,
going is
Rogan
what
can
I
do
have
it.
to tell you. I mean,
Sure.
keep
Well, I
going. Why do you
appreciate
think
it.
I push? I keep cannabis TV alive for the fact that like that was my normalization goal. I wanted to have cannabis on TV.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, you just like, I feel like your show is gonna be one of those to where like always do what you're passionate about. I'm never saying don't do cannabis stuff. I'm just saying in terms of things to think about that. Okay, like you're saying, oh, I'm broke, be a
Diversify.
veteran, dude. You could use all this stuff online to obviously, obviously anybody. So I taught a friend of mine is a paraplegic. He's in a chair and he's got some movement and stuff, but he's got tons of time on his hands, and obviously he can do social media stuff. So I started showing him how to do some stuff. So I just think that like everybody out there, like that thinks like that social media you have to be popular to make money. Like I don't show my face for any of my content except for like
Sure.
these shows. I will show my face for interviews, but for the munchies, nope, I don't do interviews. And because I have 70% women following, I won't lie. If anybody asks me, "Are you a guy?" Well, of course, yeah, I'm a dude. That's whatever. But at the
Sure.
same point, I don't post my picture of my face. I don't do live stuff. If I do videos, it's got my wife in it. Things like those, because I just know that being a guy, it's very hard to attain a following other than guys. Okay, like I usually, if you look up your following on Facebook and mine, I could look up mine right now. It'd probably be 60% dudes because I show my face. But I found out if I don't show my face, it's nothing impersonal. It's about showing what I like, like what I'm
Mhm.
interested in, and like the fact that I think the reason I have so many girls is because I like stuff that's pink. I like stuff that's purple. I like colorful things. I like, obviously cannabis. I mean, look at cannabis. It's purple. It's pink. It's
Right.
fucking bright orange hairs and shit, and it's frosty as shit. And sometimes the frosty turns a dark green into a light green or something. So like, it's a kind of world to where like it's kind of neat that like even with my photography, I can show off my photography and just show my art. I don't have to never really talk about me, or just like you try to take yourself away from the conversation because, hey, other people want to talk about the fun, and they want to hear about the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I try to be positive, for sure, is a big thing up here, and not in a phony way. There's a lot of phony positivity online that's out there trying to get clicks and stuff. And but for me, like I've talked about it on a few shows where I've been through a pretty dark, time in my life where I was ready to, be done, right? And I came out of it with this more with this plan what to spend the rest of my time here to do, and I have it's in my brain now all the way until I'm done, whatever years from now. I already know what I'm doing, and so it's kind of insane. It's a very insane feeling to like sort of already know what your plan is for the rest of your life. Which before that
sent you
was like
some good energy, A, and B, bro, like you made it. Like, I mean, I gotta tell you, like hearing your story, like, dude, like I like hearing when people like overcome adversity. You know, like, I mean, honestly, I went through cancer to where I didn't tell anybody about it because I just figured that it'd be easier if I just like, you know, kicked it and then maybe like it just worked that way, which obviously I found out was selfish. Very like I found this out from my friends and family and everybody around me that you know I
they
should
were
keep
pissed.
care. But at the same time, like I mean, dude, like I mean, I remember being in my house for okay, like first it was cancer and then it was the car accident like a month later, and then lockdown happened and then COVID happened. So like I was stuck in my house and I'm trying to go outside just to go walk and I'm like asking my doctor and they're like, no, you can't leave anywhere. You don't know. You're not going to know where you're going. You're going to forget. You're just going to be walking around, and I'm going to forget to. I don't even know how to drink water anymore. So like myself, like I'm always like I don't know how to drink water. I don't know how to eat food. I just don't have that like normal sense where people get hungry and they go cook. So I know where you're coming from, where like you're just like feel like you can't get anywhere. But I mean, obviously, you know, I feel like your show is just that's why I like your energy. That's why I figured your show is something to where I was like, man, this guy has some good energy. So I feel like just keep doing
Thanks,
what you're doing.
appreciate that. Well, it's been awesome, man. And you know, you're an energetic guy too, and like sometimes I feed off of that energy. It's like I felt like I've been lower energy, probably too many dabs, but that's okay.
There's never too many dabs, man. Never, ever, ever. Like I literally, I mean, I smoke more flower than anybody I know, but like, it's funny. Like I got a friend of mine. He's like, every time he sees me hit a dab pen, he's like, smoke more flower, bro. Smoke more flower. I'm just like, I
Good
don't
night,
think he gets.
Ashley.
Well, hey, naturally is good. Oh, that's what's up, Ashley. Thank you.
No, her name's Smashly.
Mashley.
Smashly, that's her nickname around these parts. She's
Okay.
actually a grower too. She sells, and she works with a company that sells these tower gardens, and that's another cool thing that was sort of unintentional from this whole journey was that I get people in the comments who are sort of grow curious, and I get people in the comments who have many more years experience than I do. I don't, you know, I'm very
Well, you're
new.
just a student,
So
man. It
they
sounds like
meet
you're
together
humble.
though. Well, but yeah, and I try to be the every person. I'm the general person trying to learn this stuff. I'm not on here showing off, hey, I'm an expert grower. I am showing off, hey, this is what a person goes through trying to get into this stuff, right? And so what's happening is like this verging in the comments of people who know what they're talking about. So they'll be commenting and sort of discussing in the comments of like what what pH they would use or what soil they would use, whatever it is. They have different opinions, and it becomes really fun, a really good like learning scenario for new growers too. And so it's been really fun. I actually just heard my dog freaking out up there of a husky, so she's saying I need out, Dad. So
She's saying, please help me. It was a great
yeah.
show. We love you. Thank you
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, and we are past time, but dude, it's been so great. I definitely want to have you on again, and maybe sometime, you know, we'll come up with a more of like a theme for it and show off your genetics or something. But yeah, awesome.
We will.
Amazing
It's on
time.
the way. Like I said, it's just some I need to get my projects in gear and like it's to where like I'd like to
Hear
get.
it.
We'd like to do a pheno hunt again, and obviously we're keeping Sour Sprees 1 and Sour Sprees 3, but it's like you know, trust me, I'll make sure that like everybody's gonna get a lot of love, and they're gonna like. I haven't even named my genetics company yet. Like, I just entered like what you said you're in a grow off.
Yeah,
I'll tell everybody here.
I was.
I entered in a cup that's basically there's a grow shop in Colorado that's doing a really big cup, and there's like 70 of the best growers in town, like best dispensaries, all that shit. I entered and I named myself Frosty because
Just
I didn't want
frosty.
anybody to know it's me. Because I really just am curious to see. Because I want a can like a little cup from my cure. So obviously, like, but we'll talk soon, man. I hope you sent your puppy some good love. The fact you have a husky, that's just adorable, and you're a veteran, and that's just even more adorable. I mean, God, man. I mean, are you Army? I
We'll
just have to
talk.
ask before I leave.
I was, yeah.
My
Yeah.
dad was a captain in the Army, and grandfather was a pilot in the Army, and
Snap.
uncle is in the Navy. So mad love, man.
We played a game called Battle Blunts a couple weeks ago on game night, and we played with a Navy and an Air Force and myself. It was pretty fun. It was a little bit of
Mad
banter
love.
going on that night. But yeah, thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Love you, bro. And everybody else, guys, thank you for coming. There's still
thank y'all.
70 people up in here. Hit that like button if you haven't yet. Terry Breiler, congratulations on your win tonight. I'll get with you after the show, and everybody go follow Doc, man. I mean, you're going to find him through those two pages we talked about, the Munchies or the Glass Porn, and you'll be able to see a lot of that. I don't know.
And then like Instagram, like all I have to do for Instagram is just put 710 on the end of my Doc Hollywood.
Doc Hollywood. Excuse me, Doc Hollywood 710. Okay, that's pretty easy.
Yeah, otherwise, like I'm shadow banned to hell, and once you get on my page, you'll see why.
I believe it. But yeah, keep fighting the good fight, man. And actually, stay on for a minute here after we do the outro, and I'll tell you about a site I use. That way, we're not advertising too much. But thanks again, guys. Hit the like button. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Where's this at? Oh wait, actually, real I guess like for like 5 seconds we'll just scroll down because I actually really wanted to look at these.
Oh yeah, you'll be blown away. Like side piece.
Oh my god.
I mean, his names. I mean, look at those things. Like, look at that pink one right there. That is not Photoshop, everybody. That is not like I get like maybe
when you say pink one, hair. I don't know which one you mean.
Well, the pink hairs on the end there. I think that one's kind of Photoshop, but I don't know. I just feel like it looks like he used a purple light, but like the rest of them, I mean, just look at them. In my terms, if you got that from your local, would you like be sad? And just know that my stuff is crossed with like his jealousy. So like jealousy was the top 22 strain of the year. I mean, I got to tell you, I got more like the stuff we just crossed. We're even crossing more with his stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's that. But yeah, awesome,
enjoy
man.
That.
Yeah, thank you. That's beautiful stuff. But thank you guys. We'll see you all next Wednesday. We Grow Wednesday, guys. Thank you again. Peace.
Peace out, y'all.
Good night, everybody.